in 20.
Heading for a negative start to a Monday here this morning as we get going into what's going to be final week of September, final couple days here of the month and the quarter as well. That's the way we're setting up so far this morning. Bit of a bounce underway right now after a negative start, 0.27 for the NASDAQ currently. More speak from Jay Powell to come. Not sure really what else he could possibly say at this point to move the market around, but we got that huge reversal that happened out of the pre-market on Friday. We end the day basically at the lows, starting even lower here this morning. Just 0.25%. There is some strength worth noting this morning, and that is once again coming from China. All things China to the upside once again, specifically EV stocks, NIO right now to the tune of, 15%? Crazy. XPeng, 9% to the upside. Potentially a big day for some of those. Once again, as far as tech is concerned, semiconductors downside right across the board. Some analyst notes, cautionary analyst notes to discuss this morning. Happy Monday. How's your weekend?
Good, fantastic. It couldn't have been better. But nice and relaxing. A lot of tennis, a lot of activities, Brendo. So good to go there. Yeah, let's talk about today. NVIDIA in focus as it looks like ByteDance is using Huawei to make these advanced AI chips. Who saw that coming? China's trying to compete. Oh no, you really? So we'll keep that. We'll keep that in mind. Crypto also selling off aggressively over the weekend there, and then Chinese stocks, obviously, as you mentioned, back in focus. That stimulus keeps coming, Brendo.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the ByteDance story makes a lot of sense looking back. But I mean, hindsight's always 2020. But we'll see how that plays out. Again, ByteDance going to team up with Huawei. It looks like to come up with AI, large language model, and AI focused chips. So we'll see how that plays out, as we said, going forward here. But yeah, nice bounce for the market right now, guys. Still a little ways to go here to get back to green. However,
decent. Final day of the month in here, and it's shaping up to be an exciting one if you own any Chinese ADRs. That's for sure. Like NIO up 14%. Like, what is even going on here? Like Alibaba only. See, Alibaba's problem is they didn't get the memo. You're supposed to be up double digits today, and they're only up like 4.5 points. But like this run on these Chinese stocks continues. It's great. I mean, if you're like, I own one of them, but Baba. But obviously, man, they've been fantastic. Long as you're swinging, you're day trading, long term, it's all sick. Just remember, you're going to get delivery numbers from these from Chinese EV names at least tomorrow because it's the beginning of the month. So I don't wonder if there's going to be some kind of profit taking at some point here. Yeah, they've got to be the big story. I mean, Bitcoin lost 65,000, so there's some red there. Chips aren't looking too good. But when I looked over at one of the stocks that was green today in the big caps, Apple actually holding on rather well today. So I think everything, for everyone that's looking at pre-market volume, you've got the NVIDIA down 3 points, and then you're going to be looking at the Chinese ADRs up. And as usual, CCL reports before the bell. So it's whenever they report, it's always early and like 8:50 or 9:15 or something when they report. So I think usually it's a pretty solid trade. You just have to wait to be able to figure out what the report is and then just join the trend later. But CCL should be a mover.
We'll have to watch CCL. We talked about how high that some of those cruise ships, cruise lines have been going. Yeah, look, Tesla today as well. I'm just going to watch out for this as we've seen some China strength. And obviously, if there's China strength in the economy, we like Tesla. I mean, Tesla operates over there, big market. We'll continue to watch Tesla underneath 260. Could be interesting. Down 0.6, market down 0.3. So very, very interesting couple levels here coming into play for Tesla. Could be, again, if you don't believe in the market, if we do get a little bit of a bump, you could fade off this 262 and have yourself quite a huge winner if the market turns around. So I think there's a couple trades here that we can definitely look at today. Tesla even losing this 252. I've turned the bull into a bear. I think we're going to be a little bit bearish now for a little while. We have banks coming in 2 weeks. That could be a good one. SMCI, as we welcome Adara back, so that's nice to have her back into town. So I know a lot of you are missing her last week, so that's great to have her back. But SMCI, last day trading with 3 digits for a very long time would be my prediction. So we'll wait to see. It goes 10-1 tomorrow, $41 coming into play. We have crypto down here. And then also, just before we go back to the desk, I know we should have Michael, I believe, if we do today. That'd be great. NEO, right there with a huge buying bounce. It just keeps on growing. And NEO sort of was talking about Bob only being up 4 or 5%. It's because NIO up 15 with an unrelated, well, related story to China's strength. But there you go. Nice upside move. Palantir, eh? Okay. With a little sell action on that name. But yeah, it should be an exciting one there, Brendan. The market's up this month. The Dow Jones up 2%. So unless we give that all back today, looks like September will be a positive one for the first time in 5 years.
Won't happen.
Yeah, who said this was going to be a massively negative month? It started off a little bit on the downside. I was just checking, though. The Q is actually red still to the tune of about 0.5%. But if you go out to the SPI, that's a daily chart. But SPY going into the weekend on the red side as well. But yeah, I mean, who said September was going to be a massively red month? We'll see how things end up today. But these charts still look pretty good as far as I think the overall market is concerned. We were talking a little bit on Friday about the dollar. I was just reading a headline about this again this morning, still teetering on the edge here. This goes all the way back to summer of 2023. That last dip below 100 on the DXY. If I zoom out here a little bit, it gives you a little bit more perspective, but still a ton of weakness, not only, and I was noticing some of the rates bouncing this morning, but longer term rates coming off. Once again, the dollar still under a ton of pressure here, kind of floating around in no man's land.
Yeah, it's an interesting look too. And I was actually reading an article over the weekend with respect to these rates, and the mortgage demand surged last week, Brendo. I think like 40% year over year on that specific week. So we'll have to keep eyes on that. We also have ISM manufacturing data coming out, and that apparently has had an effect on crypto in the past. I was reading an interesting article about that. The drop in crypto breached an established trend line that we had going back to September 6th. Apparently, the USI manufacturing data seems to have either a positive, negative, or negative look on crypto, depending on how it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, the guys were just mentioning BTC with that little bit of a pullback to start the week. That's how the overall daily chart is looking for Bitcoin. But yeah, a decent move down here, back below 64, 63.5 even coming into play. Yeah, we'll see how some of these ETFs pan out so far today. Not really doing a heck of a lot in the pre-market.
No.
Yeah.
And not a ton, obviously, but look, Bitcoin with that pullback, it's been pretty solid technically speaking. So I think, when you look at levels, and you look at the trends, last week, you were able to hold out that move to the upside, and things like Coinbase were really, really good to the long if you liked it. And certainly to the downside, I think we're going to have some opportunities here. Back under that 65, so call it like 64.70, 700, let's just say, is your bit of a resistance overnight. I look at what Mara did, and here's the thing with Mara. I'll start with what Coinbase looked on Friday. What Coinbase looked like on Friday when we were going to the upside. That's the chart of Coinbase when we were going to the upside and strength in crypto Thursday and Friday, breaking things out. Well, the miners, at least this one, not so much for Mara. Like it did the dip and it tried to go, but it double topped at 18 and ended up failing underneath close, ended up red on the session when everything else was looking strong. So if you lose 65,000, there's just no way I'm not looking short on Mara today. It was already relatively weak on Friday compared to its compatriots. And if we're not going to gain that $65,000 level, Mara's got multiple points that are going to work here. You had afternoon resistance at like 1750, which was also like the close price on Thursday. But I'm kind of thinking if there's any move that's even close into the 17 level, that's going to be one as well. And then whenever I look at a false breakout, it's like prior resistance comes right back into play. So you had a false 2-day break, and then your prior resistance was $16.80. So I think there's multiple places I'm looking for a short on Mara. I'm not thinking any longs on this one. It was already not strong enough on Friday with its cohorts Going to be a pop and fade today kind of day on MARA.
I asked you guys a couple of minutes ago what you're trading this morning, and my wife, of course, responds. She's trading her sanity for these damn kids. And my response was, "Who told you to have kids?" Hey, Randy, what's going on, man?
Yeah, buddy.
Did you see Neo's up 15%? We talked about that, and it's all about that base. It's all about deliveries. Why can't Rivian go up? Because they don't have as many deliveries, I would guess. About
Lose a little more per vehicle.
1140 for Rivian. Right now, you look at this. Rivian down 1.72%. I mean, this is what this looks like. And then if we go over here to our good friends at NIO, you will see, and we're going to talk about all these stocks. We're just going to talk about them quickly with Randy here. There goes NIO, almost a complete opposite, breaking out, breaking through, and now actually positive. Ooh, we're getting to be close to being positive on the year right here for NIO. A little bit of a breakthrough, $8. So, what are you thinking about some of these BYD, DY, things like that, Boyd, so on and so forth? Stellantis down today.
When you look at BYD and you know the Chinese EV manufacturers,
Look at this stock. Wow, that's BYD.
Yeah. Again, it's all about deliveries, and their costs are so much lower. And you mentioned Rivian. There's still a cash burn going on at Rivian. It's not quite a bonfire, but it'll keep you warm.
Ooh, I like that analogy.
And honestly, you know, they need the R2 out the door, get the plant up in production. They got some Volkswagen investment, but you know, if you're an investor, if you're holding Rivian, are you happy with, you know, their current cash burn rate? They need to get
right. They're still losing every vehicle. Right, exactly. Every vehicle they make.
The Chinese EVs, some of these are state owned. Some of them are heavily subsidized.
Yes,
so
yes.
you know, if you can sell a car for $30,000 and make a profit on it, hey, why not? And they're shipping to Europe, and there are lots of registrations. I mean,
Are we hearing it?
Go ahead.
Are we hearing anything about Tesla with that lesser model coming through? 20, 25 grand, anything like that?
I've not heard a peep in the last 6-8 weeks. I mean, registrations are still pressing in China. Some turbulence in Germany about people, sick leave? People, they're not.
Yeah, it wasn't it?
Interesting little story there. So, you know, there's been some discord in Germany with regards to both Volkswagen and Tesla. Production issues and you know, wages and labor issues. So the Chinese EVs have seemingly largely avoided a lot of this, and that's to their credit. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting play. I still have upside for Rivian. It's okay. We've talked about this before. It's just time.
All right, I like it. Yeah, well, I see more and more of those cars on the road as well. So okay, every Monday we get to be, you know, graced with the presence of.
True.
Quite a nice individual.
Yeah.
He's been on our show, I think, since I don't think since day one, but close enough to that. One of our longest running guests, Mr. Michael Noss from Trade Ideas, will be over at the desk with the big guys. So let's throw it back.
Talking cars.
Showing me cars.
Randy was there.
Yeah. Michael Noss has joined us, as the guys were mentioning, for a look at what is to come, not only this week, but Michael, as he does, went through, he told me 150 charts this weekend. I have a feeling it was maybe a little bit more than that. And came up with ideas in Europe, Mr. Noss?
And it was funny. I was piping in the Zoom chat there that I log on, and you guys are talking about German cars, and on the weekend, right? I think Germany's in.
So why should we buy BMW? Tell us.
Buy a BMW? I don't know.
Or the stock? I don't know.
I walk onto the lot and I say which one, you know, which one's safe, and then I just go from there.
Right.
Why you could buy BMW has to do with an ETF. Yeah, it was probably more than 150 charts, but an ETF I've mentioned on this show a few times, so I know you guys know about it, but maybe most people don't, which we'll get to on my second slide, which is the All Country World Index. However, we'll just start with the S&P 500, and this is just for reference. I'm sure all of you have looked at the S&P 500 for the weekly chart last week. I don't really have too much to add, and a lot of the sectors are kind of lining up with this as well. We had kind of a do-nothing week. We had an inside week. almost, and just a little bit of a topping tail. Again, I'm not going to bet against this trend or anything, but nothing really interesting or exciting happened on the weekly chart on the S&P 500. So what I do when I go through all of my ETFs, both here and abroad, I try to figure out, is there something else going on that I could potentially keep an eye on and have some trade ideas for myself and for you guys going forward in the next week. So the next chart I have here is ACWX. And again, not many people will know about this, but I know our viewers will, the viewers here, because I talk about it a few times. This is essentially the rest of the world. So the actual thing is all countries minus the US. So if you take the US out of the world, this is what the world looks like. And a great week last week. You can see that really strong weekly candle. Actually, the rest of the world is outperforming the US so far this month, and I think over the last 2 or 3 months. So it's very interesting to see this rotation out. Now, we can talk about broader themes of what's happening. For me, I think it's just a tech story. I think the fact that when the US is very, very strong, the US market is very tech heavy, and these other markets are not. You know, the German DAX and all of these different countries, they don't have nearly as much tech. So it would make sense for some outperformance, some relative outperformance, if tech was selling off, but nothing else was. It's not what we're seeing. We're seeing tech actually rallied a little bit last week, but everything else rallied more. And that's what's super interesting to me, that we're seeing this move that we have outside of the world. So I went to different countries. A lot of people don't even know we have these, but we have ETFs in the US if you want to get exposures to different countries. So the next chart is EWU, and this is essentially just the the UK. So if you want exposure to the UK, you can just buy this ETF as opposed to going hunting for individual names if you want. But this one wasn't really interesting to me either, right? So that's why I went through so many charts. I went through all of these individual charts outside of the US to see what was interesting and also investable. We've already talked about China. That's going to be a big part of it. I've beat that horse, I think, a lot, so I'm not going to go over China again. I already own a bunch of it and it looks good. But also, if we take a look at Germany, which is the next chart here, and this is EWG for Germany, that has that same kind of breakout candle that we saw on the All Country World Index. And it looks actually very nice. It looks breaking out of the base. This is a weekly chart. So it's been hanging on in this base for almost a year now, or since April, I should say. And now we've broken out, and we've broken out pretty strong. That's interesting. So we can take a look at some German names. You can just quickly Google German ADRs, and there's whole lists of them here. But I went through a bunch of them, and one that was interesting is the next chart here, which is Deutsche Bank. Now, Deutsche Bank, if you look at that monthly chart in the corner, Deutsche Bank has been a dog for a very, very long time. You know, this is the 5-year chart of Deutsche Bank, and it's not something that you generally want to trade. But for people who are looking at that monthly chart in the corner, kind of looks like a bit of a smiley face to me. I think they had the purchase of UPS when that whole, all these banks were going bankrupt and all of that. So I think they actually got some good banks on the cheap. So maybe that's what's going on. But this is just a nice looking kind of high tight base. So if you believe that this trend of other countries are going to outperform the US is going to continue for a little bit of time, and you don't want to just buy the German ETF, maybe Deutsche Bank is something you can take a look at. You can see the trade wave has actually triggered a buy as of a couple weeks ago as well, and we're breaking out to new highs. So I do really like the look of Deutsche Bank on this longer term chart. Last but not least, we have France. So France, with that also big weekly candle, our trade wave indicator also triggered a buy last week on France. Not quite to these all-time highs, but getting close, and a nice push up. Again, I don't know about my own country's news or the US country's news, but I did Google some of this, and I guess there was some political turmoil in France that's gotten resolved now. Elections, just like we're seeing in the US, elections are now over. We're getting this potential breakout, so this is one that you could watch. And if you wanted to look for an individual name, there's not very much from the France side of things, but I did find one here, which I'm going to butcher the ticker, I'm sure. But the next chart is LVMUY. So this is Louis Vuitton, Hennessy, a bunch of other of these France luxury names. So you notice not a lot of big cap tech at all. But if you look at that monthly chart, this has been incredibly, incredibly strong for a long period of time. pulling back on the daily chart for a while now. We've had a pretty sustained pullback, but not on Friday, but on Thursday actually triggered a buy on the trade wave indicator on this gap up. So this might be another one to watch as well if you're fancy enough that you know Louis Vuitton and Hennessy and all these things, what they do. I'm more of a Coors or a Bud Light kind of guy, but that's our look around the world and some things that are interesting outside the U.S.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that correlation with the election year in the U.S. It's been a long time since we've talked about emerging markets and strength or correlating with the two. But yeah, interesting to see some individual names there outperforming the overall market. Best of luck on a Monday, Mr. Noss. We'll see you again after the close.
I'll talk to you after the close.
Ain't nothing wrong with little Hennessy there. I mean, sometimes you got to keep it simple. But look, obviously, the interesting thing about all of that, when you look at that first SPY chart, like I understand, like you're gonna have waves of buying, selling, and
It's pretty impressive.
some things are leading and then others lead. But yeah, it's hard not to just take away how good it is to just be long the best for a long time and as long as possible. When you just buy and hold something like the SPY. I do think there's going to be some opportunities, however, with regards to what's going on in Europe. But what's interesting about it is, yeah, there are some great looking charts there, but it's one that's a crapper in Europe that has my attention this morning, and it's Stellantis. Like obviously, we've talked about EVs in the Chinese EV good sense with NIO and XPeng, and because they're doing their own thing today. We've talked a lot about Tesla because they're Tesla. We've crapped on Rivian, but I feel like some of the big legacy names have been, I guess, under-discussed. We saw Ford and GM both have a little bit of a rough week last week, pulling back in. And now we have Stellantis down 13% on guidance. I know they're on the watch list today. But how about that chart? It's not good. I mean, it's certainly not good. Whoops, it's a flat bottom. Forget about a flat bottom break because you can't even flat bottom break when you've just gapped 10% down underneath support levels. But I'd be pretty concerned that this guide for them is going to drag some things with it. You've got GM potentially breaking an upward trend soon. It's not, I guess technically it's not over yet because it's hanging on to the 200 period moving average. It's got some support at 44. I think this is a pop and fade this week. And then you've got Ford, which is not doing too much better, but it's losing the 50 period moving average. Not looking good for them, possibly breaking $10 again this week. This week is Ford. I don't know if it'll happen today, but yeah, it's not all roses when you look over at Europe. These legacy car companies are under a tremendous amount of pressure. I know GM's done a heck of a lot better, relatively speaking, but it also does mean if they lose the bid, they've got a little bit of a ways to fall. Like that Stellantis chart, shockingly bad. Shockingly bad.
Yeah, we talked about Magna. I think it was on Thursday or Friday of last week. We looked at Magna International, and that was just as bad as that. But Stellantis, of course, today with the warning. Meanwhile, everything is good in the Republic of China. This just keeps on. I mean, up 16% and still going here is NIO. So I just want to bring that to everybody's attention right now. Oh, here, this is what this does not need. Where's my, I'm not logged on to thing. I was going to wake this thing up and get it going again because it, hold on a second. My thing's just loading. Right now, there it is. This is the one where there's do something. This one. There it is, Fabian. But anyways, yeah, NIO. Hey, that's almost, let's do that one more time. Then we'll go to Adara. Look where it hits it. Like almost, it's like right at that bottom, right down here.
Let's go.
Guys, come on, like just buy down here, But yeah, there goes NIO again, another move up there with an investment happening. It's big. Like it was just 750. It just broke through 750, and that was a level that I was going to write down. Now I changed what I'm writing. But nice move up there for NIO. It looks like it still wants to go, man. 11 million shares, Adara. Are we ready for her? All right, then let's throw it over.
Pretty interesting list here on both the upgrades and downgrade side. Disney kicking things off here, getting this upgrade from Seaport Research Partners of about 1% right now. Hess actually getting an upgrade from Wolf Research. This one's also one to watch as its deal here with Pioneer is speculated to close as early as today, so keep an eye on this name. Klaviyo getting this upgrade from the benchmark company. And last but not least, Morgan Stanley upgrading US Bank, which is up about almost 2% right now in the pre-market. On the downgrade side, Charter Communications down about 2% with this Wolf Research downgrade and $300 price target. JP Morgan Chase getting a downgrade from Morgan Stanley here. P&G, Procter & Gamble getting this downgrade here from Barclays, down almost 3% right now. And last but not least, Enbridge, roughly flat in the day, but getting a downgrade from Jefferies Financial, guys.
Thank you very much, Adara. And getting an upgrade, one of those names there, Disney, worth watching because, I mean, look, they're in the cruise space, obviously, and you can have CCL reporting. But there's like one red day in here the last few weeks on Disney. It's been in a nice upward trend. I feel like it's just gunning for this $100 level. More of a trend continuation type of play with most things, or I should say a lot of things that aren't Chinese related looking relatively weak today. I feel as if this is the kind of thing that could stick out. Although you're underneath Friday's high, despite the fact that you're gapping up. I think you look at previous closes for trend continuation. So there's relative strength out there in some places in the market. Disney's a pretty good example of that. It'll be interesting to see how those banks fare at the end of the week. I don't think I'm touching many of them until we get back into the earnings there. But to see JPM on the other side, we've seen a little pressure on those financials. But it's good to see Disney get off the schneid. I'd be a little bit cautious because if CCL were to tank it, then that wouldn't necessarily bode the best for Disney continuing, given that they're in the game as well.
Procter & Gamble's had a great run up. We've talked about, it doesn't normally move. I mean, just even on the year, we had a 155 down here. With the rates now changing to come down a little bit, I could see dividend stocks, of course. Again, the rate cut's been known for quite a while, so Procter & Gamble continues to make its higher moves. But right here, just on the year, 150 up to 173. The only problem now is this 50-period moving average. We've broken it a couple times but bounced back. Let's see if it holds again. Another downgrade right here. So if you can get this name into the 170 mark, you can give it probably down to 162. I mean, if you take these wicks as being something, then you've bounced off the 200 period every time. And it was messy in here. Like the 200 would be flattening out if I drew this back. But at the end of the day, a 170 long on this name, it's nothing exciting, but it's a place to hide out. So Procter & Gamble, if it makes some more negative moves, you can possibly hide in there if you wanted to. It's kind of like an ETF there for these consumer durables. So, yeah. All right, let's go back over to the desk.
Just looking at a couple other areas of the market here. I just saw a couple of gold miners jump up in front of me here on a volume scanner. This is gold on a weekly chart. That is a weekly chart of gold. So we hit 2,700 back on Friday, coming off a little bit here this morning. So gold downside. So some of the mining type names going to be under a little bit of pressure here as well. I mean, I just saw a note, RBC raising price target on the entire railroad sector. So more demand to come from railroads as well. So there's all these like individual areas of the market that are popping up again. We haven't talked about it in quite some time.
No, and I think we might be on the precipice of a strike on the East Coast in the United States when it comes to these ports. Obviously, the ports are where the shipments come in and then they make their way onto the rail. So I have to keep an eye on that. Lots of Canadian coverage of that as well, CN Rail as well as some others. So we'll keep tabs on those, Brendo.
Yeah, JP Morgan, guys, with a downgrade and price target cut here on Eli Lilly under pressure this morning, pointing directly to their weight loss drug. So again, JP Morgan with a note here on Lilly, 2-3 weeks in a row. This is a weekly chart again for Eli Lilly, potentially anyway, setting up.
Yeah, look, Lilly's actually been under a little bit of pressure. A little bit's probably not even the right way to put it. No, Lilly's been getting hit the last little bit. And you look at the last time it was up here, it was a pretty straight shot. Well, I should say up here, meaning at the highs, right? It's not nowhere near the highs right now. But the last time it was up at those highs, it was a pretty straight shot on a pullback that found, I think, like really obvious support. Anytime a stock that's a big time runner goes sideways for an entire quarter, usually I'm going to think that that's a significant price level. But you get the feeling that we might be headed back down there on Eli Lilly. There's been some pressure with regards to the cost of these drugs, and on top of that, does anyone want to keep jabbing forever? So there are some concerns here, and I do think it's a decent chance you could see the 200-period moving average this time because support was in the mid 700s for Eli Lilly. Now, obviously, that doesn't really when you zoom out far enough, you go back to when this run really started. It's still an absolute moonshot to the upside. but you're starting to see just a few cracks in here. And now that you're under the 50 period, I think a retest of at least the 200 period moving average, if not the 700s, is decently likely. It's not the best day trading stock in the world, I can tell you that, in terms of spread. This is one that would be on my list of, hey, let's split this thing so that more people can get involved on a regular basis trading it. I think it's headed to the 200 period moving average. But yeah, 80,000 shares worth of volume, always a spready stock. It's not something I will trade, even if I do favor the short at least for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, look, I was going to, we could talk about the sector. We talked about getting into some ETFs instead, XBI, things like that, to hide a little bit from single stock risk. But, you know, this Novo Nordisk, I mean, this was another stock here that had the huge bump up with the GLP and then now all of a sudden under pressure with the cost, right? And so I think as this comes through, we're going to have to keep on justifying. And then you also have competition coming. And if there is an oral sort of replacement there, I think that would win out over taking a shot. So I don't know, man. Some of these names are losing it. Underneath the 200 now for this, Novo, underneath the 50, obviously, and looking to bleed lower and lower. Not a great couple days here, not a great couple weeks for this name. So the sector's under pressure right now. Sometimes you get a little bit heated, right? And right now, especially and we haven't heard much about healthcare with the election or anything like that, but those are always pretty volatile when we come out in there. Yes, you are right. Bears versus Bulls, the sticky note is now out, so you can go find that. But it's 9 o'clock, so we're about to go over our watch list.
We're going to look at the futures first, Sean. 57.90, guys, where we closed out yesterday, or Friday, I should say, on the ES December contract. But you'll see that we were able to take that 5,800. In fact, on a closing basis, because we worked our way up to 58.25. So let's see what the opening bell brings. If we reclaim 5,800 right at the bell, we'll use it as support, and we'll use 58.25 as resistance. If not, we're looking at 57.50 as support.
Man, what a couple of weeks it's been. Just marching higher still. Let's get into everything else you need to know. If you haven't done so yet, jump down to the description right now of this video stream. There'll be a link, top of the link pack. First link is for the watch list. All you need is an email address. Enter that, and you'll get everything you need to know in the pre-market delivered right to your inbox every single day. There's NVIDIA. Downside this morning coming off what happened back on Friday. We had quite the recovery into the close, but it was a pretty negative day on Friday as well. I mean, there's a couple of analysts with notes this morning, as you see there, but this ByteDance note teaming up with Huawei to, I guess, start the process. They seem a little bit behind here, though.
And I was talking to an analyst on the weekend, Brendo, a friend of mine. He was really bearish on China. And then I watched Squawk Box with David Tepper on Friday talking about buy everything you can from these Chinese ADRs. I'm not advocating either way. Let's talk about this story, though. So it looks like ByteDance wants to use Huawei's Ascend 910B chip to train its new large language AI models. It's used for less computational intensity. So obviously the Hopper chip is a lot better, but they say it's good for what they needed to do, and they're looking at expanding there because it's hard to get your hands on these NVIDIA chips, man.
Yeah, I mean, to date, this has not mattered.
Nope.
Does it at this point? Remains to be seen, but NVIDIA downside anyways, guys.
It's downside, but I was watching The View as well there, Sharif, and every now and then it's just no.
The View?
No, I know. I think he slip of the tongue there. Slip of the tongue. He was watching some CNBC, but look, NVIDIA, it doesn't look great. Although if you go to a daily chart, I'm not going to pretend that there's anything bad about this in the long term. But if you looked at it Thursday, Friday, there were a lot of things that pulled back in. You had the SMCI news, which kind of turned everything around. Friday was, at the end, it did end very strong, but Friday was more or less a trend down day for NVIDIA as well. So when you're gapping underneath, I think it's pretty clear to see. Like, I think the 115 support is still very much valid at this point. Like we were just talking about if things go sideways for a while at a price, it kind of shows you where support's going to be, and that's at $115. I think you're tighter to the obvious resistance, like Friday's lows. Friday low, pre-market high, that's right at the 119. I don't think a short's wrong until, I actually might know it. I was like, I don't think a short's wrong until 120. So I think it's look for trends into those peripheries. right? Like the only place I'm looking long is down at the 115 level and underneath that 120, and more importantly, the previous high, low, on Friday. I think that's a bit of a short trade. Now, in the other chip space, I don't want to ignore Intel here because that 2330 is going to be right there again. It was resistance after earnings, and then it turned into support for a couple of days. Friday, it traded away from that. Double top up here, double top, and then a retest of this key support at 2330. If it loses that, it's not to say that I think it fills in the entire gap, but that 2330 was a big breakout price for these guys. And you're way closer to that than any chance to short 24 on Intel, which I think is an obvious one because it sat there all afternoon on Friday as a 24 short, but I think 2330 is going to come in first. You could fill in a decent part of that gap if we lose that.
All right. I mean, with NVIDIA moving the way it is, down almost 3% here and pretty negative stories. So it is going to be, for me, the number one name to look at. And I think you just have to be patient here today. I have both NVIDIA and Intel. And these are the names that I just want to wait to see. It's on the sticky note. It's 2150 short. We talked about that, the bad news in China, now this competition with Huawei, plus that story that we had on Friday about past bans. I just want to stay short on this. Like if the government's going to start talking negatively and then there's an opportunity to come with competition, I think that's a negative story. Intel, 24 short as well. You guys can go over there at Trader TV, Sean, go find it. But here we go. Well, this is NVIDIA, right? I mean, right now, underneath VWAP, underneath the 200 period moving average, the reason why I wrote down 2150 is that's Friday's close. So we've seen that print come into play a couple times. And those of you that write it all the time, it's like, wow, I didn't think it was going to hit that level. Well, yeah, I mean, that can happen, right? If NVIDIA starts to go for a little bit of a jog here early, I could see it bump up into 120.50, 121. And then we start to look at it thinking about this as a top. So when we write down levels or when I write down a level, it doesn't necessarily mean that like we have to wait for that exact area. But this is an area for me looking to be short up into here. Right? So that's where VWAP was on Friday. It's where now, obviously, we make that move down. Let's see if we can recover some of that in case the market turns. I can't predict what this market wants to do in the next hour. So we'll see, right? I mean, I feel a little bearish. We wrote that down. But as we approach right now VWAP on the NASDAQ, I mean, we could take this level and then all of a sudden you're right back to that key 2020. So this is what I'm talking about. I want to be short underneath 20,200. The thing is, on Friday, we had to withstand this, and we did. We did a great job with this trade. We had that short, but you're going to have to watch out for that level. It held sort of in the afternoon. Let's wait to, this morning. Let's wait to see if it holds again. So 20,200 on the NASDAQ. Then I go over and say, okay, what's another name I want to short? I'd like to not do something in the chip space, but unfortunately, Intel has just been such a good trade. Neil already mentioned like 24. Yeah, I love 24. I mean, if we can get anything short into here, it's the same trade as NVIDIA, right? That little top from the afternoon on Friday. So I think there's a chance we can get all of this. So I'm going to sit and be patient right now to see if we can get a bump in this market, which looks like it's trying to go right now. If we can get a bump, it just gives us a better opportunity to stay short.
All right, let's touch on crypto here. I had more comments from the Fed. It's worth noting Fed's Bowman was speaking. And the comment that I saw, or the title of the comment I saw, literally said, Feds Bowman delivers nearly the same remarks as were delivered on Friday. So they didn't talk about monetary policy. If you were with us on Friday, we mentioned they didn't talk about monetary policy. It looks like they're not talking about monetary policy again today. IBIT here, downside this morning in the pre-market, but trying to bounce back above 36.50. I mean, there's nothing significant if you go out to a daily chart on BTC, a bit of a pullback to say the least.
Yeah, according to this article I just read over here, and we can have a look at the chart, this trend line here that's been in place since September 9th got broken. The bullish trend line, the drop could be, a typical bull market pullback with this overnight pullback, but sometimes the timing coincides with the historical trend sell-offs when it comes to the release of the ISM manufacturing index, Brendo. So we're going to see here if it prints above 48, we could get a nice move up. If it prints below 48, the ISM manufacturing index, it could be a bit of a sell-off.
We'll know more later on. Soon. Yeah.
What? When do they report?
So NEO is up more. Because, I'm going to get to, we'll talk China again, but NEO just made another break of the high of the day.
China's next.
It's next, so I guess we'll get to it. Look, I was asked, is Coinbase short today? I actually think under 65,000, the group looks pretty decent for a pullback. It was just that I liked Mara a little bit better for short because of the relative strength in coin on Friday. Like coin super strong when you were breaking out above 65,000. When you pop the daily chart up there, it does give you the 50 period. You're back. You got right to the 50 period on the daily, simple moving average. And so I think shorts in front of that level make obvious sense. Didn't really have any levels that I loved here on coin, unless you were literally talking about 190 bucks. I think the difference between them and Mara is you failed the 50 period. Like you were trying to break the 50 period over on Mara and then failed it, gap back underneath, which is now at $17 at 50. You've got all kinds of resistance levels, whether it's 1680, which is prior support, 17. I think just pop and fade gives me multiple areas that I want to look for the curl. So I'm looking for like an initial up move in there. Give us that prior high 16.8 or the 17 area, and just look for that trend reversal trade. If it never breaks out the top, then we just look to trend short. And if we're underneath 65,000, which we are, we're still at 64, then this is the one that I'm gonna prefer to the short side, which is Mara.
Yeah, we talked about last week. We went over some names and how well they were doing. You know, not too bad over the last 24 hours. Ethereum down 0.7. Bitcoin's the big one heading to the south side, right? And so if you're trying to find relative strength right now, Ethereum only down 0.7 while Bitcoin down 2.6%. So I can move it over here if maybe that helps a little bit. Maybe I can zoom in just a little bit. There it is. And then, you know, Solana, Binance Coin down 3%. Binance right now. We can go find Dogecoin down 4 after such a huge move to the upside as well. Cardano back to life a little bit, down to 38. I think it got to 41, 42 last week. Still up 8% on the week. But yeah, anyway, just a couple names going through there. I was looking for Shiba Inu. There it is. So up 30% on the week, but down 6% right now, 24 hours ago. So yeah, so not bad. You know, trying to hold up right here. The overall crypto cap rate that we saw it on Friday was 2.7 or so. Now 2.3, as it will move around with Bitcoin, the primary cap weighted index for that. So, all right, let's go back over. Now we'll talk about China and like what NEO is on right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even the other ones too, XPeng and Li Auto day highs once again. If you missed it this morning, I saw a couple people mentioning the economic calendar. There's not much today. As I mentioned, Bowman was speaking earlier. We don't get really anything until 2 p.m. We'll hear from Powell, but more likely than not, there won't be any comments on monetary policy. But stay tuned again, 2 o'clock this afternoon for that. And then, as Sharif was mentioning, tomorrow we get that manufacturing look, both the PMI, S&P manufacturing PMI and ISM versions coming out tomorrow, 9:45 and 10 o'clock. Yeah, there's XPeng, quickly made a day high and then pulled back a little bit. But yeah, stimulus measures, more hopes of improvement, I guess, as far as their economy is concerned.
Yeah, and we got that 2 trillion yuan last week. Today, we're getting announcements of measures to relax home purchase restrictions. The property market has been absolutely decimated there, whether new or you know, resale homes. Guangzhou is the province of Guangzhou removing all restrictions on home purchases. Shanghai lowered the required tax paying period down and down payment ratios. Shenzhen relaxing purchasing restrictions. Beijing looking at similar measures as well. So they're really taking this to the next level.
Yeah, it's worth, as we were saying last week, zooming out a little bit on any of these. Long way down, so long way to go. Back to the upside here, guys.
Yeah, NEO is when it's up 19%. Obviously, a lot of things start to change. Like,
bad.
yeah, like when you sit down, there were some things that were kind of set up that are probably not as available, right? Like you look at the daily chart, it's like, oh yeah, look at go all the way back to the end of last year and the beginning of this year. You literally opened up with the $7 failing this year. So $7 obviously made a heck of a lot of sense to go different. When it was just going sideways, like different rip-off of 7 because that was a pretty key level. Now all of a sudden, this thing is just screaming and you've already gone another few points to the upside. So there's pre-market low 730. There's now the 750 level is going to set up obviously for consolidation and a bit of a dip buy zone here on NIO. In terms of resistance, well, there isn't much until you can say $8.50. And then from there, probably 9.5. It is an 8.5% short flow, so there is a bit of a squeeze aspect to what's going on in NIO. But the 730, 750, those are the two levels that are going to now stand out because, filling in the gap and doing the 7 bounce, which technically looked pretty good when I sat down, is not available. I don't want to ignore Alibaba today. Baba's up 5%. I think I said 4. Apologies. Baba's up 5%. But it's having a great run as well. It's still got the pre-market 111 is going to sit out there. Pre-market highs 112, pre-market lows 111. So the even dollar dip and rip looking pretty solid there on Alibaba. And if you look at Baba, the last 2 sessions, it's been gap up. Even when it did the big gap, it pulled back into the breakout price, which was 102, and then rallied. And then you go to Friday, it pulled into the pre-market low and then rallied. So you've got both of those set up, 112 and 111 for dips on Alibaba. Super strong moves. They were the best game in town the last couple of days of the previous week, and starting to look exactly the same this morning.
Yeah, I mean, we could go over them all. So I wrote down on the sticky note, we have a couple ideas on there. I just wrote down, let's just try to test VWAP. So now that we're off, I told you I was gonna write down 750 break, but that came and went before I got the sticky note out. It was on there, and then I changed it. So now I just feel like, although VWAP is at 750, I'm treating this like it's an earnings report, basically. I mean, it's a huge move up. It looks like it wants to keep on going. We have that huge buy imbalance. Let me just double check, see if it's growing. Right now it was 1 million when I sat down, then 2 million when I showed you 30 minutes ago. Now 3.5 million right now, probably by the time we get going. So more upside move here on NIO, still trying to break higher. So yeah, man, I mean, I really like this play down into VWAP. What we always say is this: you don't use these lines to be gospel. You just look at to see, is there going to be support or resistance at these levels? So I'd love to have NIO drip into, or not even drip. I don't think it's going to drip. I think if you're going to get the long, it's going to be something that's going to flush down into here off the open, and then you're just going to have to like magically pick it up. So I want to bid NIO there, and that's that. And then what I wanted to go over again was, and I know Fabian was excited about this as well. We've been talking about FXI, yin and yang, K-Web, everything, and there it goes again. I mean, I still feel like this needs to come back to life. I mean, this is a large cap index. Like, imagine this was the NASDAQ. Like, it's a monster. Yeah, let's go is right. Just a monster move there up to the upside. $33. FXI, congratulations. Like, I just never thought a large cap ETF could do this kind of a move in the last week and a half. So for me, I think it's coming back in a little bit. Look at this extension from the 50-period moving average. You're never going to see a market like this. I mean, this is like COVID, but in reverse. I mean, this is absolutely insane. So again, great call. I know there's a couple traders in our chat that have been long China and talking about it for a minute. So there you go, man. Finally, I guess. Finally, right? There's still a lot more to go. We could get a lot higher on these Chinese names. So just wait to see, I guess. I think it's a little overextended, but...
Well, on that note, thank you, Donnie Zimbabwe there.
Zimbabwe.
Appreciate the super chat. Thanks for the 10. Can you guys look at BEKE right now? Might go with some puts. You're thinking about taking some puts on them. By the way, CCL's report is that we're going to get to that in a quick second. Just want to make sure we got to this. You're gapping above that key resistance at the 20 level on that BEK. So to me, it's in the midst of a break, finding a high, and the next level on the weekly goes all the way out to, it's like 26 here. So 26, it's chilling at about 22.6. So you essentially broke a 20 resistance level and are flying up, with 26 being the next resistance on that daily. So there's on the chart, there's always room to run. The move has been ridiculous. I tend to think there's got to be a pullback coming somewhere, but obviously right now they're still in the midst of that break with resistance a good 10-15% away. So CCL did tank $1 and bouncing back a little bit here after the report just hit the wires.
And kind of muted overall, the reaction anyways. It's the, they raised their annual profit forecast, but it looks like the bookings for next year might be a little bit light. That said, they also said 2025 booked and nearly half booked, and less inventory remains for sale than prior year. So again, 2025, nearly half booked and less inventory remains for sale than the prior year. But I was just checking as well. 10 a.m. Yeah, now we're going higher on that forecast. It looks like anyway. So 10 a.m. is the earnings call. Worth noting for CCL. So a little bit of time to wait before we actually hear from them. So let's talk Amazon here. Yeah, I mean it was trying to get positive, didn't quite get there, but nice bounce anyways underway here pre-market.
Yeah, Truist chiming in on this one. Brendo maintaining their buy rating and boosting the price target to 265. Basically, you know, liking the antitrust probe in India, liking the possible results of that. They also like the fact that the UK approved Amazon's investment in Anthropic, so good look there. And they're basically saying they're just well poised in the e-commerce business and best position, so giving them the nod today.
Yeah, nice. Sell-off to end the week. I was just reading just more on Carnival, guys. Cumulative advanced book positions for full year 2025 above 2024, which was a record with prices in constant currency. So, yeah, it looks like the more details coming out on the forecast, trying to push this thing back upside, but selling off a little bit.
It's basically, Carnival's basically done nothing. I mean, it's done lots of things, but now it's right back at its normal spot there. I think Brendan's nailed it there with 10 o'clock.
Exactly.
With that one coming through. But you know what? Amazon was positive. I don't know if it is anymore. I just wanted to see here. Got a positive note. So there it is. Yeah. So forget about, oh man, we got to clean that one up. It's not at 194, unfortunately, but it was just at 194 a couple of days ago. So Amazon's been getting hit here. As a lot of these names, I feel like we talked about this, got going, right? They had a huge move up, and then just as easy as it comes up over the last week, it comes right back down in. So I still like the story here with Amazon. I'm not sure exactly why we're getting hit over the last couple of days in this name. I just think it's rotation a little bit. It had a huge move up. Maybe we'll have to look to see. I'm not sure if there's the story of Bezos is still selling or not, but nice move up there. I think some wind is out of the sails as we look to see some Chinese names starting to go. I just wonder if it's rotating out of Amazon into maybe PDD or some of those names like Alibaba and stuff and other cloud names that might not be related to US as big as Amazon is. So again, not quite sure exactly what this move is all about, but a positive note coming today. I think we can probably pick some up, but I'd rather wait for 180. I mean, we talked about buying the best names down at the 50-period moving average. I consider this best of breed, so I would, you know, I might just switch over and just start buying NASDAQ all the time and the Dow, but at some point, like I just bought Berkshire, I feel like if you're not in Amazon, you might want to do that around 180. So I feel like it's probably getting down to that area. I don't know. Not super positive on this name today either, to be honest with you. I'm bearish on the over.
It doesn't look like today. It doesn't look very strong at all. Like, I mean, it looks just like every other like continuation from Friday type short trade. That said, I mean, I kind of like 183.5 here for a bit of a level. It only tagged there a couple of times recently, but you had like a big close up here. It was like the 11th, it looks like, and you know you essentially held that twice in the next 3 days, like right in there. So if it does gap fill, it's going to take a lot for it to get down to that price. But if we do trend down into it, yeah, 183.5 looks pretty good on Amazon. But I mean, if the market goes up, but I like a couple of chip names for pop and fades. I like a crypto name. We're talking Mara for a pop and fade, but I would probably add Amazon to that list instead. You know, if I didn't like those better, I probably would add Amazon to the list. There we go. Into previous like Friday's resistance levels, like 188.70. But no, I think I'll probably just sit Amazon out. If we get a big dump day, 183.5 on Amazon. I'm going to like that level if we get there today, maybe even tomorrow.
Tesla under a little bit of pressure here coming up. We're just trying to find any kind of indication of when delivery numbers are going to come out, but Tesla being Tesla, it seems to just happen randomly. So just be prepared for that over the next couple of days here for not only monthly, but quarterly deliveries as well. Yeah, Cybertruck getting the brand new FSD software. There's that update. This was kind of interesting as well. The company has officially exported their 1 millionth vehicle from the Shanghai factory since they started doing that, which was only 4 years ago. So already at 1 million going over to Europe.
Yeah, they sold almost 87,000 China-made vehicles last month. So that's not a bad look at all, and we'll keep an eye on that. Separately, as Brendo mentioned, Q3 deliveries could come any day. Lots of speculation that we're running up in anticipation of stronger than anticipated Q3 deliveries. We'll have to see whether the stimulus measures pumped in by the Chinese government helps with some of the sales over there. Obviously, we have the October 10th event as well, Robotaxi. You've got to assume some of that pump up is built in.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing here, heading towards the Robotaxi event, guys, for Tesla.
Yeah,
Gotta wait.
Yeah, I mean, I just put a couple lines on here, pretty easy ones. I mean, I think this one's 258. Like, you know, we hit there, we sort of held it here, although we did get up to 259. We come in, we break it again, we get to 260 basically. Come in, bounce off of it again, bounce off of it again, pretty much bounce off of it again, bounce off of it here in the pre-market, and trying to hold right now. So I think 258. Now, I don't want to get super excited right off the jump here. We have 5 minutes. The imbalances will come out and we'll be able to see. But if I'm bearish today, which I am, I mean, you could see here, we could draw these kind of lines as well on Tesla and just show us that, you know, it's just for a trend, we are going to the downside. So there's that break, right? If we could break lower right now, this could be something. So I'm just looking at Tesla. I feel that, you know, this wedge, we're looking lower here, in my opinion. Let's just see if it holds. Market down 0.7. But again, I'm just overall bearish on the market right now. Just if we're under 20,200, as long as we can stay under there, then I think this is a name that has a chance to go. But if it does go $3 lower, I don't think there's any negative news really about Tesla specifically as we head into Robotaxi in a week and a half. I like this area, 255, 255.50. So if we could buy some of these dips into there, I think Tesla's a go down in that area. But we'll leave it alone until that happens. Right now, I know Neil's gonna, let me just see if anything came on Tesla. No, so I just wanted to see if there was anything on the imbalances. And Neil actually paired off quite nicely now, back to 1.2 million. Okay, what's up, Neil?
Yeah, nothing too different to say. I mean, obviously, if it gets the like the 261, 262, like mid 260 area there, 260 and a half where we close, like those look like pretty clean pop and phase into resistance. Now that you're up here on the daily, I feel like we're running into a bit of a spot. But we did miss super chat. Apologies there, Nick Dubs. I think, you know, this is why we try to get to as many as we can, but we're going over these names. You want MGM, so thank you for the $5 super chat. Had a great weekend, was finally able to go to the game, chilled out with Adam DeLuz a little bit there, watching the Blue Jays play. Unfortunately, my Bills lost, so that wasn't the best thing in the world, but yeah, you know, you can't win they weren't gonna go 17-0, so it is what it is. Look, MGM. So here's MGM on the daily chart. Maybe I should have popped that one out for you. Let's do that with my trade ideas, just so you can see this. It just made a break, and we were talking about these on Friday, I do believe, but it was with regards to Wynn. Sean was mentioning Wynn was making some power moves. You broke the 50 period, but look at the resistance on MGM at $40. Like, that is a clean resistance area with some wicks up to like 40, 30 or so. So this is obviously going to need to break out that 40. I wouldn't be short it because to me it's starting a breakout, probably headed back into at least a 200 period moving average. But yeah, this one looks interesting for a trade. I think it's just more of a breakout once it can get past 40 or a pull back into the 50 period on that daily there. So MGM looking pretty solid for breakout. We did talk about these last week. But let's get up to the desk and talk to Sharif about what's in store for today.
How to trade this week is all going to be about level 2, Neil. So if you're into that kind of thing, catch that. Starting at 11, we go right into 2, guys, level 2.
The level 2, your gateway to the market.
That's
right. So a lot of people look at the charts. Well, a lot of people.
Everybody markets.
Everybody looks at the charts. Yeah, everybody looks at charts, but at the level 2, that shows you that order flow that's actually coming live into the market. It's like who's willing to buy and who's willing to sell at all these key price levels. As Sean mentioned on that. On the balance locator, like there was a pairing event on NEO, a bunch paired off, and now there's a bit more that just came back on. So it's like 1.6 million to the buy side. It's NIO that is stealing a lot of the thunder here, up 18%, even with that last little pullback at the open when there was a bit of a pairing event. Oh, I wanted to add one last thing in here because we didn't really talk. We talked a lot about big cap tech being down. The one name that's pretty strong, up 1%, is Apple. So Apple up 1% into this somewhat down market. It was a chop fest last week on Apple with one bottom and then like a triple top in there, like 229.5. I think if this can hold on to 229, it's about the only one that looks relatively bullish to me that I've been able to see. So that 229 looking pretty darn key here for Apple. Even the previous close, like that's the one I like for the long side. Why? Because it's up when the market is down. It's catching a decent little bid. But I think all eyes are going to be on NIO and the chips at the open. So NEO holding on to 18% gain.
Wow.
It's basically they're giving the Derrick Henry stiff arm to the shorts right now. And I'll look, man.
It's giving the Rico Dowdle stiff arm to the
Rico Dowdle. Oh, for the love
That's
of
for Sharif over there, man. I got to give this guy some love for the Dallas Cowboys.
87 yards on the first play of the game. I don't even want to.
Yeah, I just hope Josh Allen doesn't. I mean, that won't affect him because they're going to play the Ravens in an important game.
They are
this year.
But
Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
That was just the beginning for that. Okay, so I agree with you on Apple. We'll try to get some longs if that one's going to come in. Neo play back into VWAP. We talked about that. We could get a dip buy into NIO here.
AMD's going up.
AMD. Yeah, I mean, NVIDIA here is not really moving around 118.50 right now. Only a couple seconds to go. So I'm trying to short NVIDIA, short Intel, short the Qs, long Neo, long Apple if we do get it. The opening bell, of course, sponsored by Firefly Neuroscience. We want to thank them for revolutionizing brain health, unleash the power of objective AI-driven brain health. Okay, 3, 2, and 1, and now we are open. Thank you, Adara. Let's watch this market down. So I have Neo dip buying into 750. If that happens, we'll be all over that. There it is. We just got long something. All right, we just got short Intel, long Neo, short Intel right now. Neo trying to make a dip down in. We're not getting too worried about this, but there's Intel right now, short off 24. Let's just wait for all this to work out, right? Neo right here trying to get back upside. Let's take something out at 57 if we can. We'll do that. We'll put some more orders a little bit higher. Let's not be too foolish here, though. Neo could dip down a little bit. We're on it right now. 2 fills off the sticky note right now. Neo long, Intel short. Let's see.
Yeah, and NVIDIA is heading to the upside. It's at 119, climbing and climbing as we speak. I only got the one position because Intel didn't quite get to the 24 level. 750 coming in to the downside on NIO. If it loses that pre-market bottom, I want to be out of you-know-what, which is out of Dodge. There was a move right before the open on some of the chip names that is carrying on through. So there was weakness early, but you're finding some bids in the chips. So there's NIO. I realize it wasn't on the chart for you guys there. But NVIDIA is now 119 and pressing higher. So
wowee,
looking pop and fade here, but let's let this one settle down into the upside as it is breaking rather higher. AMD was the other one that was already powering up. Hit enter a couple times. This one already looking pretty strong. 165 was a key resistance if you're looking at AMD instead. Where am I on Intel? Because that's, all right, why do I have 3 instead of 2? Okay, there we go. Yeah, didn't get filled on Intel up in front of that 24, but looks like it got pretty darn close to that top. NVIDIA's now 119.24, so it's getting close to 120. I feel like it's going to get there in just a matter of time. The other one I was looking at for pop and fade is Mara, but market goes up. Mara has not moved a cent. It's exactly where it was at the open. Okay, so no pop and fade yet on that name. That's weird.
All right, yeah, Neil talking about a little bit of Intel love, NVIDIA there. We're in Intel, but it's at those levels now. So we're going to wait to see. Its high was 95, so I'm going to take a little bit more. Are we going to get there? I don't want it to get to 94 and then it doesn't hit me. Oh, shoot. All right. We'll get some 93s. Okay, it looks like we'll get some 95s anyways. I want to give this to the levels that we wrote down, man. We wrote down 24, so we're not quite into that level yet for Intel, but it's really up here, right? I mean, that's $24 even, and then this level is $24.15. I feel like if we can get above there, that's above that VWAP. Let's just be wrong on it and move off of Intel if and when that happens. But we're going to try to get some more short. It looks like we did miss. That's too bad. We did miss that 895 there. It's too bad. We should have got that. We got some 93s in there as well, though, but that's okay. And then the other one here is NIO. There we go. We got some more.
Tesla's flying.
Yeah, Tesla's flying. Okay, yeah, the market right now is off. So we were feeling bearish early. I still feel fine about that call. Let's just wait to see where we go. We're now zeros on the day. We're short Intel. We've got the right name. I feel like NIO might come out. If it does, man, it's 730. If we break sort of below this area right there, we're going to get out. So let's hold out that this might work out for us. There's Intel pulling back just a bit.
Yeah, market's starting to come back a little bit here, but just a couple of things to go over. Apple, look, we liked Apple for strength as opposed to some of the others. We're going pop and fade. Apple broke it out. It's now up 1.7%. I'm going to look for the dip buy. If we're obviously not going to get it, look, we're not going to get a lot of levels here with the screaming to the upside. You've got a pre-market breakout at 230.5. I'm going to look dips back into that level on Apple. I want to be joining any potential move into the upside there. NVIDIA did not get to 120. It got 119.5. Just going to be a little bit patient. Do still want to pick this up. I only got one leg out of Neo in front of 60s, but I'm going to get another one out here as you've just bounced a second time off of that 750 level. Intel's looking okay, but I did want that pop and fade on NVIDIA at 120. It looks like we're going to get there. It's very, very close. Adara? Don't hear her.
We don't.
We're not hearing her.
To take the company private there at $6.85 per share. This morning trading as low as around $4 per share, so a bit of a premium there. They also do have a short float of about 7.9% for TTEC, guys.
All right, thank you, Adara. Welcome back to Adara. So just real quickly here as we go. All right, just trying to find out a play that we want to do. What's up, everybody? There it is. Hey, what's up, Fabian? Fabian by himself today, so good work on that one, Fabian. All right, nice move here on Intel, obviously, as we talk about that name. We've had this name for a minute, so let's just wait to see where we want to go now on INTC. Hopefully lower, man. This is going to be a big trade for us, man, a big trade alert. There it is, yeah. I mean, when I say big trade alert, that's what we necessarily mean because we were there at that level, and this is the trade that we wanted. So, you know, like I said, we're here to trade. We're here to make some money, and that's what we're doing right now with INTC. What a good... Again, we wrote down 24 short. It got to 93s there. That was our last fill. We're short now 88 now on Intel as it's dripping and driving to the downside right now. So we'll take some more outs, man. Nice trade for that. NEO's not really doing what we thought it would want to do, but it is moving lower here. So 33 fill, and we're gone on NIO. So let's remember that trade just in case it does come through again for us. So 33 would be where we're getting out. We will buy some more dips. We're long now at 45 on NIO.
Yeah, and NEO's coming to the downside. Obviously, Intel is working, but 120 just tagged on, well, maybe not exactly 120 on NVIDIA. It just got up to 119.90 something. I mean, I got it at 83 on the way back. It looks like 95 was probably the best price that filled, but you're screaming up here on NVIDIA. I'm thinking VWAP the way this is going to the upside. When Intel pulls back and NVIDIA doesn't, that tells me that you've got some strength and you've got a lot of names coming up here. We're about to get to overnight highs on the NASDAQ. I feel like a test of that level, and if we end up failing it, that's when it'll make a heck of a lot more sense to maybe be in some more short here. So a bit of a bounce play on NVIDIA off the 119.5, but these overnight highs are screaming in on the NASDAQ, and we're going to come under some pressure. I like the fact that Intel was holding, but you know, until we fail those, we're just able to get halves, it's immediately breaking out that 120. So off on the rocket ship is NVIDIA. Apple, that'll be a fail. We did want that one long, but we thought there'd be dips to be able to grab at the open. This is just off to the races on Apple. Got to look at maybe VWAP now at 231 for a place to join. Apple is clearly strong here. And sometimes it's a rotation. And it was all chips last week with a bit of dips in NASDAQ names. Now you're testing that 730 level. So we got 750, got some out, did not get the second fill. We're going to look to reload only at the 730 level. If we lose that pre-market bottom on NEO, then I am out of Dodge.
Yeah, exact same play for me. I mean, we're at that level. So we lose 730, we're gone. We're long at 45. It's easy for us to sort of withstand this kind of a play, but we'll wait for it. NEO, I'm going to get some out if it does come back up. So here we go. I wanted to play 20,200. We've broken way through that. Wow. The level for me on the TQQs, just looking at the 50-period moving average here, we're right into this level. So we wrote down before 72.50 was the short that we wanted here for for TQQs. So that's what we're on right now. It's funny that the market is ripping up here and we can't get any love for NIO, but we do get a nice downside push again here. Let's just keep taking some out on Intel. We're low on it right now. Let's just see if we can get even lower into the pre-market 50s. Let's put some bidding in around that 50 area just to get some more out here. Good trade so far happening for us on INTC. All right, NVIDIA rips up, man. Now we're short on NVIDIA right here at 121. We talked about wanting this level again, 121.50. That's going to be our stop out. So let's put that in right now, 121.50. If it breaks up to there, we'll get out. But let's just try to build this. Good trading so far, man. We're short NVIDIA, 30 cents now in the money on NVDA. Boom, there it is. Take that credit right there and put it in our pocket. Good trading so far, man. 30 cents in the money on Intel. 40 cents in the money on NVIDIA. Neil, 7 cents in the money now on the TQQs. Man, we running things right here. Good trading so far today. Feeling the short.
Well, the market's at that high, so this has got to be the spot here. I just grabbed my first short in Mara. We wanted pop and fade on that as well. Bitcoin still under 65. It's at 64,000. So you got 16.8 as the previous low from Friday. That's where I want to be short into. It's NEO that's going to be under pressure. It's about to lose the 730 level, so we'll slap the L on that one because that'll be the first one. But we're in tomorrow for the first time. Market just got to those highs. Want to try to respect it. I did want a long. I still believe the long in Apple. Just we don't have it. It's about to test the high of the day. I feel like a bounce in here into VWAP is going to make some sense. It just keeps on getting like the target higher and higher and higher in terms of where we want to buy that dip. All right, Mara just came back into VWAP, so we'll get some out there. Was able to get 1660, just took some out at 48. We'll look to the low of the day, which is the mid-30s on MARA. So the pop and fade did come into that, but we'll slap the fail on NIO. So the gap up. And then it's a New York stock, not a NASDAQ, but Mara was NASDAQ. We just lost that 730 pre-market low. So NEO is going the other direction, obviously, as you can see here. So headed to the downside. $7 was the other level worth looking at, but when this is trend down into a market that's up, I want us to settle down, maybe show you the other side of the trade. Like I want a rounded bottom or something like that to try to get into. All right, Apple's trying to pull back here. This could be the chance is the market's strong. I mean, Apple was strong before the market opened up, so it's the one that I kind of like the best. But if we don't get a dip into VWAP, it held support at 21 1/3 before. So, if it doesn't get 231, I feel like that's got to be the level to be able to catch it. NEO, want to get away from that one. Mara looking okay. Intel's actually still relatively weak, so it's coming right back up to the highs. It's probably a reload at that 24 level. But Apple just can't even dip in here. It's not going very far to get us into the trade. I haven't looked at CCL. I know they had earnings, but the call for CCL is at 10 o'clock. Personally, I'm not trading it until after the call. So good luck if you're into CCL. I just don't like trading those things going into the call.
All right, guys, we're pretty good so far here. We did get stopped out at NEO as well. We talked about that. NEO just sort of focused on that one. There it is right there. Nice couple outs on Intel. Let's now wait to see if we can hold more into this. So we still have about a third left of INTC bidding into the 55s. Good trade for us on NVIDIA here, as we talked a little bit about that. We got something out at 50s. Now let's wait to see if we can even get more out now. And then again, I like this trade, man. We talked about this one. I think it's worth having another look at it. Let's see if this market can fade off of now this level. We sort of mentioned the 72.50 area. It was one that we wrote down here on our sticky note. So we have it, 72.25, a nice little downside push, hoping for now on this market. We're bidding 72 flat, where we've sort of bounced off of before. Maybe we can get a fill here. That'd be a nice take for us. We talked about trading the futures. Here we go. It's a 20 handle winner if we get filled on the bid right there. And am I not on this bid? What bid am I on? Oh, I'm at 72 flat right now. Okay, so whatever. Hopefully we'll get that. It just printed 01s. That would suck to miss it. But so far, so good here. As we're really starting to get down. Intel's starting to get down a little bit. NVIDIA's trying to join the party as well to the downside. So all is well here. NVIDIA, go. Now 30 cents. Bring it back down in, man. I think this market could retrace in. Let's try to hold some of these shorts and really make some good trades here today. So NVIDIA, no bids I have out yet. So what about right here, 119.50? Why don't we bid something at 120 in case we get a flush? But for right now, I don't mind our opportunities here on NVIDIA.
Yeah, looking pretty solid already. Look, by the way, Mara did catch a bit of a bid off that pre-market low. I'm out looking to reload that trade back off of those highs. So you're catching support, higher low, higher low. If it gets and holds above VWAP, then I don't necessarily, I'm still on the offer, but I'm probably going to wait for some of it on the back end of the trade. Like the short in there. We said Intel was going to be a reload, but it hasn't really gotten back up to those highs. If it puts in lower highs, we're going to like that as well. Oh yeah, Tesla.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, Tesla broke 263. It is now through pretty much everything. That looks like there hasn't even been a red candle on Tesla. So I thought this one possibly was going to be a 258 breakdown. Tesla is on an absolute charge to the upside. Apple's still allergic to VWAP. We like that long, but I'm not sitting here trying to overtrade it. We thought we'd get something in the 229 range. It's at 232. Let's wait for some kind of a consolidation here to get long.
All right, here we go. NVIDIA, good calls there, Neil. I think I might be right about that Tesla strength there. We sort of noted that earlier. All right, NVIDIA, nice call, man. We just got some out at 28s right there on that bump down, so that was a good one. And yes, we were patient, and we do get our 72 fill right there on the TQQ. So that one right now goes into the pocket right here. So that was a good trade. And then Intel as well, as our 3 shorts remain true, man. We're right here on the stick. You know, we wrote it down. We're feeling bearish today. So we'll be up on the day. It's funny that we were feeling bearish, and the only stock we lost on was a stock that we're long. So maybe we need to trust thyself with our initial read and just kind of stick with that and then play the names that follow where we think, right? What align with our core beliefs of the market for today. Okay, that's that play. Let's look for some more. What else did we have written down on here? NIO, NVIDIA, Intel, the TQs, and Apple. So let's have a quick look at that name. We wanted to go long on Apple if there was any opportunities, and yes, sir, 231.50, huge move up there for Apple. I don't want to sell anything in my own personal account, but Apple continues to give you those feels, man, up to 233. We've already been up here before. Love to see it hold again. I think that's very, very possible. But right now, Apple looking to stay in this 233 area. I'd like to short it if we can get up there, so maybe we'll do that. But for right now, that's a nice long look for Apple. All right, we've got numbers coming up now as the market tries to get right back up to highs. What's up, Adara?
Early number today here, the Chicago PMI just coming through, seeing 46.6, slightly above the estimate here of 46.2 and the previous print of 46.1. So slightly higher than expected. Chicago PMI, only real economic print of the day here. S&P 500 getting a bit of a bullish engulfing candle here on the 3-minute chart in response to that print, guys.
So now we're into these futures. We do have our stop at 72.50. If it does break those levels here on the NASDAQ, that was a great print. 46.6 versus 46.1 on the PMI read. So that's going to be a good read there. So we'll have to wait to see. 72.75 is kind of the high, but that's really right into here right now. So let's wait to see if the market takes that out. We've already bounced off the 200 period, which has been pretty sweet. So we'll wait to see. It looks like it got a nice little bounce there. We took the advantage to short that. So let's get some out now at 10s if we can. And there it goes, Neil. Wow. This day is just getting, honestly, so much better. We just said trust in thyself, man. And that's exactly what we wind up doing there. Hit the futures again, man. We've got Bitcoin. We've got options. We've got everything. Now we've got futures. I mean, you guys wanted more like different styles of trading. That's what we're here to do. This is another one right now. It's crypto. It's going to be a good little look here. It's the futures, as we have a huge pullback in right now for me. So good on that if you have it. And then Intel also back near lows. Let's take another bid here.
Yeah, Intel right back, but it's holding the bid as we speak. Apple on the number, I was like, oh, that's bad timing, because Apple came right into the dip as the number came out. I had to stop underneath local support. It holds on to VWAP, but I didn't want it rinsing through that support when we are preferring shorts. NVIDIA double tapped the top there as we got into that, I guess, pre-market high or the opening range high on the number. So we're into that one again. MARA, we're staying with the short. We allowed it to pop and make another lower high in here. So we're still going to look for that low of the day. If we get the 30s, great. We're going to be on the bid out in front of that. But I like the fact, I mean, here's the thing. Like, NVIDIA's trying to break higher. Intel's holding underneath VWAP. Like, this is NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Which just tagged 121, was able to get some short, got some out for a bit, and now all of a sudden you're about to break out the high. So clearly, I think Intel's a much better shorting opportunity than NVIDIA. Mara's holding on for a little bit, but I think NVIDIA is just way too strong here. It's looking a lot like Tesla, although Tesla is probably the strongest stock that I've looked at this morning. But NVIDIA is about to take out that resistance one more time. So we might be slapping the L on this. We should be in Tesla. But in hindsight, that took out that big resistance level from from Thursday pretty quickly when the market was looking weak. Tesla looking awfully strong here, actually stronger than Apple, though Apple now holding VWAP. I think I should take another second shot at Apple. Don't like getting in the front of a number like that, but I was in position. I'm like, oh yeah, the number's coming out. So I'm like, let's just throw a stop underneath there and see if we can't find another entry point. So Apple, we did get out, but I'm looking to get back into this. Still think this is a long stock for today, at least until proven otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. Tough start there with NEO and Apple. I have the NEO trade, and then we're looking at NVIDIA as well, as that's starting to break our neck a little bit here, back up to the upside. We wanted 121.50, so we're short now. We should have been shorter a little bit more on the upside, so we're going to wait to see if we can get something up there right now. Short at one. Let's put a bid at 121. Maybe we get a nice little pullback right here. We're short at 121.11. So there it is. Yes, sir. Let's go. Right now, we're at the high spot we've been at all day. We only have one error on our board right here, and that would, of course, have been NIO, which got us right there. Okay, we are back into the short. Oh, we did not get any more short here on the NASDAQ. That's all good. We have NVIDIA short, and boy, oh boy, did we reload that one. And this is what it's about, right? It's have that confidence, put that chicken dinner winner together right now. 30 more cents on the board here for NVIDIA. But let's just keep taking some profit. Maybe we get that drip down. Wow, this is a big day right here happening for me. Let's just see if the TQs can continue to the downside. We're short now at 25s right now. We're getting some more bids out right here. Man, a good one happening right here. What's up, Adara?
Keep an eye here in this Montrose Environmental Group, MEG. This is a small cap, under $1 billion market cap, just under $1 billion. You have a short float here of around 7.9%. Getting this short report here from Jehoshaphat Research, basically saying that they believe Montrose has inflated its EBITDA and some of its other financial reporting metrics. So MEG pushing lower on a bit of a volume uptick here, guys.
Jehoshaphat Research, is that what that was?
I just kept hearing Montrose, and I keep thinking about Eric Montrose.
Yeah, the great Eric Montrose. Dodgers, wasn't it?
No, North Carolina.
Carolina. I was thinking.
He was that 7 foot
who's that,
reasonable NBA player.
Yeah. Well, when you're 7 feet tall.
No, he wasn't very good at all. But he was 7 feet tall, and I'm trying to remember why he was famous. So he had some battles with Shaq.
Raul Mondesi, maybe?
Raul Mondesi is who you're thinking.
Yeah. Well, Blue Jays fame, too.
Yes. So Intel, just a couple of things here. Intel has now bounced twice off of pre-market breakout prices. So I feel like there's a little something happening here at that 23 and a half. And the market trying to take out some highs. When I see that wick, it's like usually I would have had a trail underneath here for when let me just cancel the offer there. I would usually have a trail when it's breaking that low or maybe the pre-market bottom, but it just did this like bottoming tail candle. If we get a push back up to 24, it's like reload 24s or look for the lower high at 23.75 or so. Tesla is still absolutely on one at this point. It just got to 265. Like, are you kidding me? Before a little bit of a curl. Oh, and the other thing I've noticed, AMD holding 165 almost to the penny. This resistance looks a lot cleaner than NVIDIA is at the 121. You're up, down, and back again, but 165 is very, very clean here on AMD, just worth noting. NVIDIA is starting to come back in, though. I think VWAP's going to be the test at 120.
Let's go.
I want to see us get to VWAP and break VWAP. So I'm out of Intel after it had that double bottom. We're still in Mara and NVIDIA to the south side. Eyeballs are still going to be on NIO despite taking the hit, because guess what? It just made a bid off that 730 level. So ends up holding the pre-market low in too early could have been it. If it puts in some higher lows, the trend could be right back on NIO, but it is at VWAP and finding some resistance here. But yeah, they lost that to 730. Probably should have waited to the other side of the trade. Dip. If it rips now, I don't want to miss it completely. So I got to have the eyeballs back on NEO.
Guys, if NVIDIA goes, we're going to be huge. 120.50. Let's just wait to see. That's where I'm next bidding. I mean, if we can grab that one and put 75 cents in our pocket, of course, on the number one trade idea of the day was 21.50 short for NVIDIA. The high of the day we have written right here is 121.53. That was in the pre-market. That didn't just happen right now, did it? I don't think so. But we're short right now in the 20s, so a good trade right there for NVIDIA. But again, it still has to go, right? I'm not overly convinced this name really wants to go here. So let's just continue to wait for it. It's NVIDIA right now at this level. I'm not in love with what we're doing here, but maybe we get a dip buy and able to take that out. All right, that's NVIDIA. Intel is good. We're now out of. We only have about like maybe 20% left of this name. It's the futures right now. We've been looking at the futures lately. We really like trading them. We've sort of talked about that a little bit, but it's in danger right now. Let's put it that way, of getting slipped up right now. So watch out. 72.60, that high. We sort of talked about it on the 50 period moving average here on the 20-minute chart. Let's give it a little bit of room and see if it wants to hold. But for right now, yeah, it's looking a little bit dangerous here on that side of things. So let's wait to see if the NASDAQ is a little slippery slope. We're trying to get some more 35s. It's bounced off of us twice up there, but we'll have to be patient and wait for that level. But yeah, I just told you we'd be huge if NVIDIA came in. So let's just wait to see if that happens, man. It's 9:53. I don't think we have, I'm going to check our research note today. We did have Chicago PMI. I'm just looking at it right now. No, that's it, 9:45. So
nothing till Powell.
Yeah, nothing till Powell. So, yeah, man, good day so far. Let's see if it can continue. Intel, triple Qs is back in the money. We just take a nice fill there at 12s or 15s again. So keep dripping down a little bit here, market, and we'll be taking those fills.
Yeah, and just going to go back over to Intel. Intel is making that lower high. So I wicked out, not really wicked out, just took it out when it made that little bit of a bottoming tail candle, ultimately holding that breakout price. But now you got resistance at 23.77. So it's still kind of relatively weak. You got VWAP in here for a reshort there. We'll see if we can't get into that one. Looking over at Apple, Apple not really doing a ton. It's Neo that I want to get back into. Obviously Neo shakes a lot of people out. 730 bottom, now it's back over 750.
Is it?
It's back on the trend to the upside, up 15.5%. So we've already seen what this can do the last couple of days. It ends up, because it held the pre-market lows, it's going to be relatively annoying. Where's my, all right, 50's just filled on NVIDIA, but I want to see if I can join this above VWAP on NIO. Next available consolidation as it's starting to get back into the upside again on NEO. Super strong stock today.
Oh boy, guys, this is, we're doing it every single day. I just want to thank everybody for continuously watching the show. This is for you, Ozan. This is for everybody that's with your boy today. We are absolutely huge again. This is now a Dollar Club member right now. Let's see what NVIDIA can do. We're absolutely huge now on the futures as they come right back into this level. Oh man, this has been just another day. We're really starting to top off the month right now. I mean, this is going to be the last day of the month, so we're pretty proud of this month. It's been a good one, and we're just kicking it right now. There it is. It is $1 right now on NVIDIA. I said if this trade goes down, this will be the one, right? And so that's the kind of stuff that, I hope it means something, because that's just letting you know we have shares on this name. I'm put the day on this right there, and that's what happened. So it's a nice move down. So yeah, we're gonna congratulate it a little bit. Okay, there comes a nice move down as well for the TQs. I'm just gonna start taking more and more out here as we're dripping back in, man. This is the trade that we want. This is a big day again today. So whatever. Congratulations to everybody that believed in this trade, stuck short with me, and now it's pay dirt right now. So good day there. And sometimes you got to get that read. So again, man, big moves. Trading has been absolutely fantastic as of late. And just a big shout out to everybody. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe and just keep rocking with us, man. I mean, we're doing this literally every day. I hope that I'm proving the worth as we go.
Yeah, nice to see NVIDIA come back down in there. I'm watching a couple of things. Obviously, NEO is trying to go again. There is a battle at 750. Feel like 750 was a trap price earlier, so I'm being a little bit cautious with this. If you're trending back to the upside, you could still take out the top. If there's a revisit of this low, I know 730, which was the original level that we liked, obviously held up very, very nicely, and we should be waiting for that one if we can. The other name out in don't ignore what's going on in China land is Alibaba, right back as well. So it pulls into, look at that, pulls into last week's high and off to the races one more time. So this is another one, maybe a VWAP or trace, that 111 holding up nicely. Baba, strong, NEO, strong. When the market pulls back in, it seems like the Chinese ADRs are going up. So there could be a bit of an inverse relationship going on with these Chinese ADRs and the overall NASDAQ. NVIDIA still trying to grab VWAP at 120. Not on the bid down there, because I feel like if we just take it out, that would be a heck of a reversal like the pop and fade. I'd mentioned AMD to everybody. Still holding that 165 and looking pretty good. It's Mara all of a sudden. Mara double taps. So because it's putting in higher lows, I don't reload it at the high because it's still trending into the upside. So you understand, if it's trending higher, you don't have to reload the trade. If it just takes out this 1665, you just jump out of the trade here on Mara. not doing what I want. It's not against, but it should be falling a heck of a lot more than it is, at least the way I look at it. So there's Intel. Looks like we're going to tag that 23.3 after all. I'm not going to take an automatic breakthrough trade there. That was for the open, but now we're going to short back into any retracement into VWAP. Only thing I'm looking long arm right now is that NEO. I want to get back into it. Felt that we could have had that to the long side. It's just disappointment. I'd like to see it. If it's going to hold 750 now, I might take a little pot shot at it, but I'm not holding 750 to 730 like the first time. We'll go tighter stop on the first long and then wait for that bigger level downside.
Oh, guys. I don't even know what to talk about anymore because there's the, okay, so let's just have a quick look at what this free resource is right here, the sticky note. Okay, so here's Intel 24 short, right? Huge trade. NVIDIA 121 short, Intel short, huge short, NEO, we're off of that, Apple. So right now, man, this is going to be a trophy day. We're really proud of it. There is Intel. Take another bow, Intel, as you are all the way to the downside right there. You are now back into $1 in the money right now on NVIDIA. And the futures, come on, all the way from top to bottom. We hit the futures here, Sharif. What a great move there for this one. It's another huge one today at Trader TV. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm going to take another bid right now at 46 if we can get there. It is on NVIDIA. Another out right there. Man, these are some good vibes that we're having around here right now. So, yeah, let's just keep it going so far. Nice move down on the Qs. We get VWAP. We get the 50-period moving average. Thank you for believing. Thank you for checking the sticky note. Thank you for trading alongside there. We're going to go 3 for 4. Only losing trade here is NIO today, and that one would have been fine. We actually got out at the bottom, so hey, welcome to my world. But that sometimes will happen. It's okay when you have the top of the TQs. Look at this thing go, Neil. Here we go, man. It's NVIDIA right now. It's another one as we keep on going, man. This has been a monster day here so far. Glad to have the end of the month end in this fashion. Monster trading here. I hope you guys are doing it too. The TQQs, you know how many handles in the money right now? 60 handle winner right now as we ride the bears. You guys wanted futures, you want crypto, you want options. We've got a very special announcement as well. Adara will be staying on the desk for pretty much all day. She reports the news. She's absolutely fantastic at it, and she's going to be breaking that to us every single day. Now we have on the show, though, coming back today, it's my main guy. It's Joseph. Joseph is back in the building again here today. So we have an hour until that goes. We've got options over there. We've got futures here. We've got some little small caps. Sharif and Neil like to look at those ones.
What?
We've got big caps. We've got I don't know, Neil's lesson of the day. We have Adara on the desk. We have Fabian. We don't have Ramin today. She's coming. We've got Andre over there. We've got Big Patty Ice, Sataya as well with crypto. So, man, the show be changing, and get ready for another big midday show today with Joe and Sharif. So not just options, they're going to be talking about everything. So it should be a good one there. Thank you so much for continuously supporting the show. And honestly, another one. The futures right now continue its move lower. And oh boy, are we doing it here again today. It's just been such good vibes trading this month. Last month has been a great little run here. Thank you for the continued support. Let's just keep the show going.
Absolutely, and I just took a VWAP on NVIDIA, so it is what it is. It's down to 120. Instead of it bounced off 120, I was going to get out, so it bounced off 120, and we're going to get out of it. I do want reloads in a few places. I'm on the offer of Intel at VWAP. I do like it. It is trending to the downside, as we can see. 2330 is going to be a big support level for it. That was from last week. If we get there, I'm still thinking flat bottom break, but I want another crack at it to the south side before it does get there. It is 10 o'clock already. Adara, what's happening now?
Bit of chop and churn for the S&P 500 to start off this week, which is actually the last day of the month of September. Looks like we're actually going to end it positively for the first time in quite a while. Bit of a bottom here on that 570 level. Not a lot of economic data to be aware of. We did have a slightly stronger than expected Chicago PMI print at 9:45, but it's worth noting we have Fed Chair Powell making comments this afternoon. The event itself that he's speaking at starts at 12 p.m. I'm seeing a couple different things as to when he'll start speaking, either 1 p.m. or 1:55, but I will let you guys know and keep you posted as to what those comments are as they come through. In terms of stocks to keep an eye on, we have Carnival chopping and turning after its earnings report. They beat estimates across the board, and they also raised their year guidance for the third time this year. Last but not least, next up, we have Alibaba. This one making a nice recovery off the bottom, up 4% and continued strength for Chinese stocks, with the CSI index actually having its best day in since 2008, actually. So good look there. And we also have CVS trading higher with some activist investment talks here with regards to Glenview Capital Management. And we are brought to you by Firefly Neuroscience. Firefly Neuroscience is revolutionizing brain health. Our groundbreaking brain network analytics technology is transforming care for patients with depression, dementia, anxiety, concussions, and ADHD. With 15 years of research and a wealth of brainwave data, we're set to illuminate the future of diagnostics and treatment. Pharmaceutical companies and medical practitioners, get ready. FDA 510K cleared BNA technology is here to supercharge your clinical trials and enhance patient care. Join us at Firefly Neuroscience, traded on NASDAQ as AIFF, and be part of the next big leap in neuroscience. Ignite hope, one brain at a time.
Wow, I was just going to say, I mean, we can just do this again. Let's go. I don't think the market's going into the gates of hell, but I can't just sit here and say, I told you so. But we were feeling bearish there today. And so all the shorts, all the money right now today, it is going to be a trophy day here. So just going short, man. The only L we have on our mark today is the long in NIO, and it's right back at the 200 period. The problem was I wanted to support the VWAP. We wrote that down, so we tried it until eventually it broke, and we gave it a little bit of room there. But you know what, man? It doesn't even it's stink face right now. The amount of money that we lose on NEO is basically just been dwarfed by these other positions. So look at this, man. It's $1, Neil. $1.52 now in the money on NVIDIA as that's coming back in right there. So that's a big one. Thank you, Bat. Right there. It's 30 cents on Intel, $1.50 on NVIDIA, and now 60 handles on the futures. So we're just going to remain short, man. Sit in here, have another big day, and have no problem telling you guys about it. Because, again, this is what the show's about. Learning trades, talking about the different names that we have on, and trying to give some opportunities, and just trying to show, again, and try to disprove that stat. And it's not disproving it, it's a fact, but show you that there is an opportunities to sit down on a prop floor, make a little bit of money, use bigger shares, take your trades and go for it. So we want to thank Real Trading again, the system that I'm on, and I've been here now for 22 plus years. So it doesn't come easy, but it's definitely coming right now. Nice trading there today so far, holding on to the short. I'm going to take another bid on the TQs right here. I missed that 50 fill, so we'll wait to see if we can get something else.
Yeah, I just reloaded on Intel here. Doesn't get to VWAP, but it goes right into that pre-market breakout. We can come here, and then remember we wicked out of the short in front of 24, right about 23.60. That's where it did a little bit of a reversal. So support turning into resistance. It's now got it at 23.60. Mars trying to take VWAP in here as well, but in the other direction. So Intel's underneath VWAP and kind of consolidating underneath. Mars trying to get right back on. We're going to take some 16.4s and then 16.3. I don't want to... we shouldn't be looking gift horses in the mouth, and I want to show you what's going on in Bitcoin, everybody, as well. So let me just slide on over. You did a bit of that bounce in Mara was when Bitcoin was trying to hold that 64,000. We're back underneath it, so trending back into the downside. So the reload came in Intel. We were already in Mara as that starts to head lower and lower. Thank you. Thank you, Rob.
Yes,
that was close.
Literally not feel my fingers.
Well, it almost that almost spilled. That was that could have been a disaster. Second. Back to the downside. Oh, it's all good, man. It did not spill there. It just kind of slid off the old coaster and reflexes like a cat every now and then.
That would have been fun to see that. Okay, not fun to see it, but fun. That would have been interesting.
Maybe not
to have that happen. Maybe not. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm just kind of in these same plays. I mean, this is what we've been doing here today is playing the short, feeling bearish, and just waiting for this play to come through. So again, it was off the sticky note. We had NVIDIA short. We had the TQQ short, and that just touched out. Too bad, guys. I'm at 71.45s. Looks like we wicked down to 48s right there. We are at the 50 period, the 200 period moving average. We have to stay true. So I'll put it, oh man. We have to stay true to those kind of levels, right? And so top of the bottom, top to VWAP, perfect. Top to VWAP. All All right. I'm going to tell Brian Shannon not to steal that one because I've stolen many of his. When there's a gap, fill to VWAP. So that's what we try to do on NVIDIA.
Don't tell me you're stealing stuff now, right, Meow, too.
No, I'm not stealing that stuff. That Meow stuff can be you.
For the record.
Yeah, that was great.
Actually,
Let's
while
get
we're
that
here,
straight, yeah.
for a second, just for everyone that wasn't here, I meant to do this at the top of the show, and then we got busy talking stocks, which is kind of what we do here. But I wanted to give a big shout out to Spark Shop on Friday. And if you weren't watching the Friday show, in the afternoon we had some fun, and Spark Shop thought it would be interesting if I would just say meow instead of now, kind of like Super Troopers, and he would give a $5 super chat for every single one. So shout out to, because man of his word. I'm talking about, I think I dropped like 30 of them just to have some fun with it. So I want to shout that out. We try to have as much fun as we can, especially in the afternoon show when things slow down. But the market is headed to the downside again. All right, what's the next available bid? I'm sitting at the 30s here. But you know what? You're catching a bid at 40 again on Amara. So I'm going to get a bid there. Intel, which was the reload. And now it wasn't a reload at VWAP because it didn't get to VWAP. Like the next available pop was in here to the 60s. The local bottom is now in the 40s. I'm going to throw a bid into the mid 40s and see if we can't get picked up again there. And the thing with Intel, 2330 is that big level from not just on Thursday support. It was support again on Wednesday. It was a breakout as well. So I feel like you get to 2330. That's going to be an out for me on Intel.
Nice.
Look for another bounce to fade, maybe even a flat bottom break. So reloaded Intel. That's headed back into the low of the day. And Mara falling as well. Just looking back over. Oh yeah, Tesla was so strong. It's still up 1%. So even this is coming back, but it just bounced off of Thursday's highs. So Tesla is still holding up a lot of strength here. That one, I think, catching a little bit off guard. I really did feel like this would join the selling party. But you know what? It never actually set up the breakdown, so thankfully didn't have to short it.
So Patrick knows what this means, but like for me to turn around and Patrick goes, thanks a lot for that short. Like that to me is like, that means a lot because hopefully, he shares ideas with us, we share ideas with him, so on and so forth. So I just want to know, I mean, that's what we do it for, right? And I keep saying, this is proof right here that, we can trade together, we can, make the calls and figure out what we like and what we don't like. And sometimes I'll call out Patrick and be like, are you short today? Or are you on this play? And today he turned and said he was and thanked me for that. So I want to thank you, Patrick, as well for looking at the same stocks, right? I mean, we'll have different ideas. Sometimes we'll go different ways and, both can be successful, right? So here's NVIDIA, man. This is $1.50 in the money right now, NVDA. We are short up here, 121.50 again, completely free resource posted right here on the sticky note, 121.50. It's the high of the day. It's where we're short. It's huge. All the big stocks today, NVIDIA, NASDAQ, Intel, right? And I know you're working on Mara right now and Intel as well. So, just look at this Intel trade. We wrote down $24 was the short that we really liked right there. So where did we get it? 23.95 is the high of the day. I mean, if that's not another one, then okay. And then here's NVIDIA as well. It looks like it's trying to bounce off. I'm going to put a bid right now. Let's just get a piece out here at 01s. I mean, we don't have too much more to prove to ourselves for sure. The market has made the move. We're back into VWAP. So it's kind of shown its colors to us. We took the top. We waited very, very patiently for this play. We got it. And we deserve today, I feel like, to be where we are. It's all about patience for me. Look at this, Phil. Are you kidding me right there? Like, we get that. That's $1 right there on the NASDAQ. So we just got there from 20,060, 20,260. We get 20,000. That's a 90 handle winner right there. So again, hope some of you were at least on some of those plays. It's just the futures. You can also go long as well off the 200 period moving average. That would have been something that we could have reversed into. But we are very, very light now as we continue on our journey. We got some more out of NVIDIA when it just broke there. We have 10% of that left. We have less than 10% of the Qs left. And we have less than 10% of Intel left. So they're all just cruising right now. It's 10-12. We'll look to get a little bit more. NASDAQ flat on the day. Let's just take a breath. We've got the goal we need to be at here, and it's been a successful day. So let's just enjoy the coffee, and we are here to win it. Hey, Davis, I mean, that's what we're here for. You can ask us in the chat. Any questions you want about the stocks we're trading, what stocks we're up the most on, what stocks we're down the most on, anything like that, and we'll tell you, because that's what we have to do is be honest here. And yeah, Alibaba, a name that we haven't looked at, maybe something that we'll get involved with.
The weed name's strong too as well.
Weed
So
name,
I'm just asking, I've heard nothing on these. I was just asking the chat to look at CGC, but I don't know a specific story here at all. I was just checking Benzinga. I still don't see anything, up 5%. That's all well and good. The call is on for Carnival as we speak. And whatever they open with, it's starting to lose the bid again. So Carnival was down $1, then it was back into green, and then it fell at the open. But now that the conference call has started, it is back underneath the $18 level, down 3.5%. I feel like it can be a little bit safer to join it after the call is concluded. Probably going to break the lows before that even happens. So I'm going to wait patiently until we have a little bit of a clarity on when that call is going to be done. But it looks like trend down here for Carnival. I think just fortunate to get some more out there of Intel and Mara as you're starting to catch some bids on both of these names, at least a little bit. I mean, you're still trending down for the most part, but that 23.3 target that we're looking for on Intel, you're getting bids at 25.5. So I got another leg out there, just going to wait for 23.3 at the low. Mara is holding a very similar pattern, though. Like, you didn't break out the top, but you haven't broken out the low. So we're like 45 minutes into the session, and essentially all you have is like a 2 or 3% range, 2.5% range on Mara inside when it's 5%. If it loses the bid, I think you're going to see underneath $16 today. But until that happens, playing inside the range is going to be the name of the game. The CCL looks absolutely crazy in terms of volume. But Atef in the chat is asking Eli Lilly any news. Eli Lilly's just been under pressure.
Yeah.
But today, it catches a bit of a bid.
Oh,
So,
it does?
yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
like, it caught a bid at the open. It's a bull flag. I'll grant it that. But see what's happening here. Well, I'm not overly bullish on this stock in the short term. I think you can see back into the high 700s. We talked about that in the beginning of the show. But you're still underneath previous support level. So you're bouncing, but you're finding a curl at the obvious technical spot, which is just Friday lows on Eli Lilly. I don't think it's much of a day trading stock, so I'm not going to touch it. Maybe they will split like these guys. And here is where I think things could get nasty. Because SMCI was breaking higher, and now it's got that old Christmas tree setup. All green early and all red a little bit later. If this loses the bid, I think it's going to be look for reloads. I haven't checked out ARM, but we're only short a couple of names, and SMCI just turned red. Not going to be good going into that split.
No, nothing good to say except for she gone right now, and there goes the short man. We talked about this market. We talked about getting short. We are short right now. Neil, it's not a $1, it's a $2 winner right now for NVIDIA on the short. It's a $1 winner on the TQQs. You guys were like, nah, man, that guy didn't make 100 handles on that trade. No, you'd be wrong right now. It's 105. Here we go back into the downside. Before we go over to Adara, I just don't want to forget this. Here in Canada, it is National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. So all the kids wearing orange today. My family was. I didn't have anything orange, unfortunately, in the closet. So maybe tomorrow, I don't know, my wife's going to get some shirts. But there it is, National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. So a big shout out for the Etobicoke Dolphins as well there with my wife. So anyways, that's something that's being celebrated now here in Canada today. So shout out to the Indigenous today here in Canada. So, all right, Adara, over to the desk.
We have Eli Lilly news, actually, and it's interesting. None of it is directly related to Lilly, but there are some potential sympathy or antipathy plays here to look at involving two different companies. Innovis Bio actually is having some positive news or some announcements with regards to its Alzheimer's drug. We know LLY works in the Alzheimer's space. They also work in the obesity drug space, and Roche having some of its obesity drug targets being mentioned today, including saying that they're looking to do $3 billion in obesity drug sales this year. So LLY feeling some competition with regards to two of its larger spears right now, Alzheimer's and obesity drugs, guys.
There you go. So a couple of related names causing that move. And obviously, Eli Lilly has been a great stock. I'm not going to hate on it. But yeah, this segment, this morning move to the downside, well, up then down. Oh, not yet? Okay, we'll give it a couple of minutes. Oh, just very quickly, I'm going to I have a trailing stop in on Mara. before we get to some business. Trailing stop in on Mara. It just lost the bid. I think if it bounces from here and gets back above that low 30s, it's going to be a VWAP retracement. So just going to cancel my previous stop, which was at the pre-market highs, and be able to trail it a little bit tighter. So Mara still looking like it wants to lose that bid to the bottom, but you've got to be able to take the profits where you can. Intel is still holding the lows. I'm on the bid. I'm getting out in front of 23.3. The next push down, that is the monster support level on INTC. And we want to make sure we're able to grab that. This all brought to you, and thank you to Trade the Pool. And guess what? I just saw it. We ready for it? Trade the Pool. We've got great news and a great update from Trade the Pool. It's even easier to get funded. As you know, Trade the Pool built a unique program to evaluate stock traders like yourself and provide you with the company's funds to trade with. It's real shares, and you no longer need to worry about that PDT rule. But that's not all. Some exciting news for you today. Trade the Pool's introduced a new tier with 20,000 in buying power, making it easier to pass the evaluation and speeding up the process of getting funded much faster. That's right, it is simple and it works. You don't want to miss the opportunity. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description for more information. So shout out to Trade the Pool for that. And shout out to all of the buyers of the weed names, which are continuing to be the only thing that aren't like an absolute, well, it's not a dumpster fire today, but the only things that are strong. So CGC, I'm going to keep an eyeball on this, if only because this has been a long, if this can take out like 525, it's one of those really long consolidations. Again, only up 5 points today, but there ain't much that is looking strong at this point. So trail in on Mara, bid in to get out on Intel at that 23, in front of that 23.3. Still can be a flat bottom break on Intel, but we're just going to hold Mara for the even dollar at this point.
All right. Oh boy, as we keep going, we always will shout out Obi for some reason when we say that, because that's his saying right there. But yeah, Intel $2. We did cover some TQs right there as well, because we got to make sure that we put that money in our pocket. We are now getting very, very light, as it's only 10.20 right now, but we've already taken, we had 10%, now we have 5% left on the TQ, so we'll wait to see if that one wants to still hold. Intel, man, we took another piece out there at that low as well, so Intel, another one coming through for us on the short side there. Let's check out DraftKings. That was a name that I wanted to look at a couple weeks ago. As you guys, a lot of you on the show will know that we were talking about shorting in and around that $40 area, or sorry, going long that $40 area. Now we've broke it, so tongue twister here. Once you break a support level, it becomes resistance. So now you're looking at a short here on DraftKings. I'm just glad that today on the stick, we were feeling bearish, gave us that sort of way to go, and it was like, we knew that we wanted NVIDIA if it ripped up. We knew we wanted the NASDAQ if it ripped up. We knew we wanted all these levels, and it just goes with proper preparation. And preparation is going to be different for everybody. Make sure you grab our watch list, link in description. Make sure you grab the stick, make sure you check out all of us every single day. And make sure you check out Adara with her small cap recap beginning immediately.
IWM in a nice little uptrend here throughout the day. Currently in this new 15-minute candle, which started about 5 or 6 minutes ago, pushing lower. Let's see if we can continue to hold on to that support at 219 that we've now seen as a bit of a rounded bottom for the last 2 days in that Russell 2000. Tons of small caps on watch, but usually in a specific sphere today. We're going to get to that in a minute. But right now, we have TTEC to talk about. This company here having its CEO proposing taking it private around $6.85 per share. Lowest price today was around $4, so a bit of a premium with that deal. There is also a 7.9% short float on TTEC. A lot of other small caps today are going to be Chinese ADRs. We know Chinese ADRs as a whole are stronger after that stimulus talk last week coming out of China on Tuesday. We also had yesterday the CSI having its best one-day gains since 2008. So lots of strength there in the Chinese ADR world. IQ is one of those stocks up about 15%. The other is XHG. This company is called the Exchange Group. This one's already halted today. It's up more than 100%. So lots of small caps in the Chinese ADR world today, guys.
It makes sense. I mean, you start with the big and then go down to some of the small ones, going to get some moves to the upside. So shout out to everything that's China. They're doing huge volume. I've seen a lot of, so Captain Physics just mentioned GameStop is going. DJT is also going to the upside. I just want to quickly point out why I said even dollars on Mars. It's not just like 16 is 16, but if you look at the daily chart, like it was resistance here and now theoretically support. You can see the last couple of weeks or last couple of days there you broke away from it, but there was support at 16 even. So that's why the target is sitting out there. DJT is at the high of the day, consolidating for a break, up 7%. Okay, so I guess it's a decent relief rally happening here. If it does parabolic, if it goes parabolic, I like $20. I don't know if it can get to that price today, but I'm going to pay for locates on the off chance. I mean, it's up 7% and continue to go. GameStop is also making a move, oddly enough, up a couple of points here. But I feel like every time we're down in the overall market and it's trend down, you're going to get these squeeze names start to go. So I want to have an alert here. I feel it could break 23.10 and start trending to the upside. DJT, I think, is a little bit stronger. I just don't like the long in DJT. I always wait for a spot to fade it. I'm going to pay for locates on DJT. Keep an eye on GameStop in case it decides it wants to take out that top. But DJT starts breaking away. I'm going to look for some kind of a mean reversion on this throughout the middle of the day. It's about to take out the highs. Congratulations if you're long, but I'm looking for a short opportunity. I'm not just going to sit on any offers, but we have to pay for locates first.
All right, I'm pretty comfortable, obviously, right now, just sitting in these shorts. Yeah, so, I mean, here comes the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's even breaking lower. Yeah, what's up, Erie Pages? And this is, I mean, what was the breakfast you had this morning to power this awesome day? Nothing really. There was these little croissants that they give here. I had one of those. Other than that, though, not much, man, here for me. So we just, these are just the trades that we put on every day, but I do appreciate that. We did have, this is our second coffee right now. And then we have like a greens kind of drink thing with all these vitamins, everything on the way into work to power up yield brain cells. So that's a good one. Like it's like an AG1, like a greens supplement. So that's what we have every day. And then we just try to come in, like I said, man, like clear of mind and just try to figure out which way we want these names and then just go with it. So I want to thank Erie Pages and everybody there as well, Coffee Trader, and everybody. Just you guys can see the damage that we're putting up on the board here every day. And again, it's just this is what we do. So we'll just continue with it, man. Intel 50 cents in the money, and look at this. And again, it's all free, right? We wrote down Intel short right here, 24 free. NVIDIA, and these are not like just like if it gets here, this may be what we're doing. This is why I write these levels down. I have to continue to take them because we've done the work on them. So there's NVIDIA here, 120, 150, Neil, now $2 in the money, and we have the trade on. And then the NASDAQ, we actually wrote down here as well, 72.50 on the TQQs. Well, the high of the day on the TQQs is 72.35. This is now $1.20 in the money. And if you're trading just straight handles, you're now 125 handles in the money right now. But you're not here for all that, are you? You're more here. What's up, Adam? He wants it. He gets it. It's what's for lunch? It's only 10:25. So it's a little early to be doing this, but we saw Adam and he tweeted out, he put on Instagram a picture of he and I. They're at the Jays game. Neil was there as well. I don't know if you took any pictures with Adam, but he put on Instagram there.
We kind of did. We were so busy talking the whole time, and
yeah, exactly. He came down and sat with us as well, so that was really fun.
I think from like the second to the fourth or fifth. Nice. Great dude.
Great,
really
dude.
Enjoyed it.
What's for lunch though today? People will like this, man. It's been very, very popular. We had a great run of beef last week. People love that sirloin. It was very, very excited around here offices. And today you get another all-American beef classic. It is your beef hamburger today. Cheddar burger topped with mushrooms, potato wedges, salad, so on and so forth. As a side, that's what's for lunch. And I think it will be well liked around these here parts. So burgers for lunch today. I hope you guys have what's for lunch today as well and enjoy whatever it is. We're going to be having salad that comes every single day for Neil and myself, Brendan as well. I think pretty much all of us right around here have that, and it's been a tasty treat. I prefer to get more tuna, so we'll see if we can get some tuna on there today as a topper, protein topper.
Yeah, you got to get that protein in there, but I'm not complaining about the salad, but I feel like we've been losing the battle the last little bit.
Yeah, that beef.
No, they did that. When they had that steak, it was pretty legit. I stole a little bit. The onions on there was absolutely delicious. So the Nasdaq's going to make a bounce off the lows. I don't know if we're going to get 2330 on Intel just yet, but there's the bottom on the NQ 20. I don't know, call it like 1-2 there on the bottom if you're watching it. So if we're going to get into like a consolidation kind of phase or like a sideways kind of phase, I want to make sure I'm grabbing the last bit of profit, and then we can reload the short. I think there was a missed opportunity on Intel for the trend continuation here at VWAP and then kind of step down again at 2360. If we get a bounce, I want to make sure we're reloading that short. Mara, I feel pretty much the same way about. So we're shorting off the highs. You've got now a consolidation off the bottom. If it breaks this consolidation up, I get out and wait for VWAP to come in. That GameStop didn't take very much time on that. Like as I was paying for locates on DJT, GameStop decided that it wanted to make the run through 23, through Friday's highs, although it's still battling here. Up 2.5%. I don't see any news on it. If there's news as to why GameStop is running, I have not heard it. Tesla is almost all of it back. So that 258, which was the pre-market low and afternoon pivot area on Friday, is about to get smacked on the bid. I'd say any time now. I feel like you don't do this unless you're testing that level eventually. So 58 needs to hold, otherwise you could have the floodgates open up on TSLA. I did pay for locates on DJT. This would be a very different story from shorting all the weak things that are out there. I'm just looking for some kind of a parabolic move up, set a new trend, and then a trend reversal play here on DJT. But it's not going to set up unless it breaks the high and does something a little bit more parabolic. Second I mention it, it goes from stronger than GME to doing nothing, and GME decided to break higher. But at the time, it looked like it was going to go.
Guys, this trade, just so you know, on NVIDIA had a 25-cent stop, right? We're short at 124, 121.24 to now be in the money $1.40. So pretty decent right now. And I'm just reviewing the trades, so we got to get out in case this market rips back up. We have 5% left of our 10% left. No, less, about 5% left of our NVIDIA trade right now. So we'll use that level here as a spot to get out. And that's going to be 120, just this little high area right there where we arched. 120.25, we like that for sure. So 120, 26, and we will get out of our full position. Oops, script failed. That's right, because I didn't cancel my 121.50 order right there. So again, just a big time position here coming through for us on NVIDIA as I scramble here to get the order out. So now it's out right now. So that's going to be a good one. The TQs is starting to make a move back. This is the one we only have 5% left on. So let it go up. I mean, honestly, we'll probably get out if we take through VWAP again, but maybe even a little bit higher. We're just letting this one cruise. We're on pretty much cloud 9 right now with today's trade. And then we're almost out again of Intel. I love to put something else on for you, but I think I might just be in a Q&A mode. But let's go back over to Adara as we get ready for crypto. So let's go find out about Bitcoin, which we really haven't looked at.
Pretty interesting level actually for crypto on that daily chart. We went from rejecting 64,000 to now trying to have a little bit of support at this level. We drifted as low as 63,250 early this morning. Right now, around 63.8. So let's see if this level ends up holding up. We did have, of course, this is our second day to the downside, but it's worth noting, actually, Bitcoin apparently on pace for its best ever September. The second best September was actually September 2009, which was the year BTC was initiated. So interesting look here for Bitcoin with potentially its best ever September performance. We know BTC and the market generally underperformed this month, but both of them having a bit of stronger Septembers for the year 2024. Right now, BTC down about 3% in the day. Ethereum down about 1.5%, but holding on to that 2,600 level as of right now. The rest of this pretty much all week across the board. Some weaker than others. Dogecoin, BNB down about 5.5% and 4% respectively. We have Cardano down about 4%. Shiba Inu down about 7%. So lots of weakness in the crypto space to kick off this month of September, guys.
All right, we just kind of did it again right here. Let's just wait to see. We just shorted again. The trade didn't come through. We are bidding 40s to get out a little bit of this if it does come in. So there's the TQQs. So we're going to go short here against that high. It just came back into VWAP again. So we'll take a little bit of a short there. We were uncertain, to say the least, of what we wanted to do here with this play. So for now, for me, we have to wait a little bit. There it is. There's the fill right there. Let's go. Let's continue to ride that bear to the downside right now. But again, a little bit of a little bit of a ride here. Let's see if we can get lower. Wow, our net is really starting to elevate right now, Neil. This is going to be a good one there. More money to come in. We take another 10 handles, 15 handles now on the TQs. Let's see if that continues to march a little bit lower as we just short off VWAP there. 20,199 or so. Down, yeah, about 15 handles back in the money now on a reloaded spot there. So yeah, feeling it here today. Hopefully you guys are as well. Let's just continue with the short calls. Neil short, yeah, Mara, that was the name we talked about crypto there. I said we hadn't traded it, but Neil on Mara today.
Yeah, and look, obviously, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered what you shorted. My reason for picking Mara over Coinbase was simply that Mara was actually weaker than Coinbase relatively, but distinction without a difference. Fail the high on coin, lower high, but there is a bounce happening. And when I see the market roll over, I shouldn't say rollover is not the right word. When I see the market turn like this, I think there's opportunities to get reload trades. So coin, if I was in it, I'd be looking at the 180 level. So that's for anyone that happens to be looking at that. But a very similar story here on Mara. You're holding the bottom end of the range. Now, if I'm trailing out here anyways, which I am, then I want to see if I can get a fail at this 1630. Then I just look to reload it here. Now, I've been thinking VWAP was going to come in. Obviously, it's not nearly strong enough at this moment. All right, so there's the break. I'm out. I'm willing to get right back in if it fails that level, and then we just short it back in the 30s, or we wait for it to get to VWAP at 16.5. And I feel the same way about Intel. We like VWAP at this time of day. It's doing a bit of a consolidation. We re-entered at 23.6. This would be the same price. If we actually got back into VWAP, we'd just be shorting it at the same re-entry point that we had before. I'm willing to bet Tesla. Not quite. Tesla got pretty darn close to that low of 258, but no cigar just yet. I feel like it's a matter of time here with Tesla that it's going to get that 258 level for a test. That's what I like, but you got to wait for it. It's not the price yet. If the market's going to be weak, it's going to be, usually you don't want to compromise on price if you're looking for the key. So 58 either breaks or we wait for like VWAP or something. Bora Hout just said, I think a firm is doing a retracement here. Maybe gonna break 42.
Ooh, 42.
Oh, upside. Okay. That caught me off guard because I for some reason I just assumed a firm would be down today.
Same.
So yeah. Not really sure why it's relatively strong. I guess it doesn't really matter. I had 42.40 as a big level on Friday. So I think even if it breaks 42, like there's that high, the previous day high, and then a previous support level on a firm. Okay, so I'm a little bit surprised why it's strong. But yeah, if this takes out, I just like it if it breaks 42.5 better than 42. But a little surprised to see strength in a firm on a day like today. But it doesn't really matter. If it wants to break that level, it's relatively strong. It's trending up into it. That looks like a breakout, just not 42 even for me, more 42.5. So check for news on that.
Yeah, that's. With the market's pretty flat.
Up 1.5
right now. So yeah, we'll have to. We'll wait and see where this market goes. But we'll get stopped out there. We'll slap a fail. It's not a fail. I mean, obviously we can see how much we lost there, and I can tell you exactly. Let me just go over there and tell you how much we lost on that nothing. So we actually wound up losing. How much have we made? Okay, it's less than 5% of what we had made there. We gave back on that break on the TQs. So short, because we took profit. Actually, less than that because I just counted how much we got hit there. So we actually took some profit, then gave back 5% on that move. So made probably a little bit, probably lost 2 or 3% right there, just of our total that we've made. Like if we made 100, then we lost $3 there. Like that's the kind of, I know those numbers don't really make sense, but that's what we're doing. So TQ's, nice trade there, out. And then we talked about where our out is on NVIDIA. Whether or not that goes up or down from here is what it is. We're out now on NVDA. And I'm not super excited to really reload anything in here into the short or anything like that. The market's had its move today. We've really cleaned up again, and it's been a big one. One of my biggest mornings so far as we hit Intel short. Let's go. That's still at the bottom, right? We hit this so nice, we hit it thrice. So that was a good one, right? NIO, the L of the day for me. We'll go, these are all the stocks I've traded. So that's 1 for 1 and 1, right? NVIDIA, this one, NVIDIA. This will be my P&L number 1. No, Actually, I lied. The TQ is my number one stock. And then shorting the futures, again, is right there, right here for you again. So there it is, man. 3 wins, 1 loss today. Big day so far. We'll just continue to hopefully look and find some good opportunities, right? CCL, some people are talking about here in the chat. We hadn't really looked at this yet. I mean, their conference was 10 o'clock, so that hasn't really done anything since 10 o'clock. It looks like it's making a move here since 10:20, so I don't know if it started late or what, but nice move upside there for CCL. I'm not hearing anything in my ear from Benzinga Pro, so I don't know if it's relatively
I've heard
uneventful.
nothing, so probably
right now,
nothing,
but
Burger.
yeah, CCL, like on earnings day, kind of just flat with the market, right? I mean, many of these names are bouncing back and forth here. So we'll wait to see if CCL can catch some wind. We only have one position right now. It's catch some wind. That's a stupid cruise there. Let's see what happens now with Intel.
You don't want to catch wind on a cruise.
No, well, if you're going the right way, you get the momentum there.
I know, but nowadays, I mean, obviously back in the day when you were sailing, but if you need the wind when you're on a cruise ship, then you got troubles. I'm not a cruise guy whatsoever.
Tesla pulling.
I'm not a boat person. I like my own 2 feet on the ground. But I've been told that it's not that bad. But then it's like, well, I can go on. There's a million vacations I can take, and all of them
we're long Tesla
are ones that I like a little bit better than that. So just I am looking at a reloaded VWAP on Mara. It's getting very, very close to that level. And I meant to go over GME one more time here. GME pulled right back in. It might just be a VWAP retrace trade, but it just held on to the previous resistance level, like 2280. So this can go sideways, maybe not even get to VWAP. It could be a bit of a trend into the upside. And then I was looking short on DJT. It's still no longer breaking. It's not very strong here on DJT. Well, I don't even like the way that Mara is getting into VWAP here. That's a strong move into VWAP. Let's wait for the other side of this trade, because that's a strong push back into VWAP on Mara. Could just wait for the highs, or maybe not even get back in at all if it doesn't look like a better setup.
Yeah, might be right on that one as well. Okay, so we're long Tesla right now, just going into the day's low. We're long here at 39s, 40s. It says, okay, fine. We're long right here right now. That's the end of the day. So we'll wait to see. I'm going to give this just a little bit of room, not a lot of room though. If this breaks 257, 258, sorry, we're out. That's the low of the day right there. I'll take it. I think it might be worth it in case this market wants to retrace back up. Let's take 1-to-1 first. Let's take 50 cents. We'll see if that can come through first. 50 cents. So that would be nice. 258.90 right now we're at. So that'll give us a little bit better. Okay, this is actually 1-to-1 right now. I mean, are we doing it again right now on Tesla? I think we are. Let's put it out there. If we can get some, there it is. There it is again. Oh my God, Neil. There's another one. Another winner to go 4-1 right now. And there goes Tesla. Like some of us, we sit here for, there's a 5-cent winner. There's another $1 for you right there on Tesla, as it just going back up there to the upside one more time for TSLA. So there it goes, man. A good day over here for us so far as we continue. There it is, man. We just put $1 on our name right there back in. So, hey, man, believe the hype. The hype is real. We just said, as Neil was talking, I'm going long Tesla right there. It's $1 for you as well. So there it goes, man. It's a hot dog kind of day. Big trades over here. How did that one work out for you? What trade were you just in?
I said I'm not taking. So the last decision I made was not to reload on Mara. So it's pretty simple. Like, it got to VWAP. Now, you can sit there and say, you like to trend into the downside on Mara, but then look at the way that this was reversing. So, yeah, I like the notion of lower highs, but look at the strength that it put into VWAP. So I could be short at 38 or 39 when it goes to 50, but you can just decide I don't like the way that it's doing it. We can wait for the high of the day, if we even want that high of the day at all, or we'll just go over. Okay, so obviously Intel doesn't even want to go up at this point. I'm going to stick to the guns of getting out if it gets to that 23.3, still looking relatively weak in there. This could be a trend for the rest of the day, but I wanted to point out, this is a flat bottom break as far as I'm concerned. And when we sat down this morning, it seemed like that was likely to just be the trade at the open. Wasn't even a pop into 24. We're much closer to 23.3. So I'm going to get out, short a pop into VWAP, but also take a breakdown at 23.3. Just want to get pretty particular about it at this time of the day. Don't have to reload. Like, I could have reloaded on Mara, and actually it looks like it would be pretty decent. But yeah, the next thing I think does happen is a test of this low. I get out, short the next pop, or just take the breakdown in Intel as we go to Adara for Sector Watch.
Kill it.
This board today, as of right now, reflecting some of that indecision we're seeing in the market as a whole, both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, as we get our last trading day of September and the last trading day of Q3. Some sectors of note here, we do have to talk about energy minerals. We just got news the FTC did approve that merger and that deal between Hess and Pioneer. So keep an eye on this sector as a whole. Pretty green as of right now. Retail trade, with the exception of Amazon, also looking pretty good here. Transportation pretty strong. In terms of weaker sectors, consumer durables having some weakness. Some names also not traded within the S&P 500 are also on watch in this space. So we have a lot of these card names like STLA, Stellantis, on watch after Stellantis lowered its guidance. Also worth noting here, some weakness in electronic technology. Apple pretty strong here, but we have NVIDIA, Broadcom, AMD, and a lot of these other chip names weak, especially Micron after its earnings last week, still struggling a bit. Pretty much flat or mixed trading here for a lot of these other sectors, including technology services and health technology, guys.
All right. We just got slipped up there. Not slipped up. Tesla was a slippery slope and fell back down there through 258. So we'll get out there immediately. So we'll take 50 cents, go 1-to-1. We did reload it. So Tesla will be... It'll be red today. And if we're going to say like what stocks are red and what stocks were not, yeah, Tesla right there. Good little trade there for us as well. And Intel, man, Intel just continues to be a good one there as it continues to make that move down. So yeah, we'll just stay in this short right here, Intel. I think Tesla's probably a breakdown short right now as well, as we took down the low of the day. So I think that is something that could continue to go lower right now, Tesla. But right now, man, that's what we're doing. It's Intel right now. It's a doozy. It's 50 cents in the money. Let's see if we can get even lower than that. So I'll just going to wait on this. If there's any other names, I don't have a problem looking at it. We've already nailed NVIDIA today. That's been a good one. And then we got out of the futures. It took the top there. We literally got out at the top and out at the bottom right there. So a little bit of a wash trade there for the future. But at the end of the day, just waiting for something to happen. So yeah, we're pretty comfortable, down minus 0.23 on the day and a good day to trade. So yeah, that's about it. I don't have too much else. Put anything you want in the shirt. I just saw someone say undershirt there in the chat, and we'll get going.
I saw that too. Intel just bounced off of that low. So I just got out of Intel when it bounced off that 23.3. I still think like it wants that bid. I'm trying to short it back into 23.5 if there's even a bid. And then I'll show you what happened on March. I tried to catch it on the other side as it wicked VWAP in there. Let's just cancel that. So there's your reversal candle. Now back underneath VWAP. It looks like it wants to set up the short one more time here on MARA. Still a little bit interested in... This kind of came out of nowhere, and I thank you to everyone in the chat that pointed this out. Like, again, there's no story on Affirm, but when the market just made that higher low, like this is making better higher lows into a potential break. So Affirm, bit of a squeeze name, broke out early through Friday's bottoms. Now you're getting some higher lows. I still like 42.5, but if this can trend up, yeah, this is going to set up, I think, rather well. We always like relative strength and weakness, and you want to find it. We like some shorts already. I'm going to short Intel again. I know that for a fact. I'm probably going to short Mara again, but I am liking Affirm here if it can take out 42.5 or maybe bounce off of VWAP. There's a bit of a trend line that you can put in here from the low into that, which if it holds VWAP is starting to set up. So just a couple of points here. It needs to dip one more time to try to be able to catch this over on Affirm. NIO, I think, was the disappointing one on the day, at least for myself, because I'm looking back at it, and 730 is still kind of holding. It's a downtrend with a 730 clear support at the pre-market low. If it loses that, probably fills the gap into 7 even. But if it can actually put in some higher lows, reverse this trend. Right now it's just a wedge. You got to hold this 730 and put in some higher lows for me to like it. I want that trend to start reversing on NIO before I go into it. I've seen a lot of people say Palantir short, which is weird to me because Palantir is one of the stronger names in the market right now. It's green. It's holding at the highs. I see why you're saying it. With relative strength, I almost think why not 37 breakout on PLTR. I'd rather be long a strong stock at this point than try to fight it on Palantir. Kind of like Affirm, although it's at the high of the day and already green. I see what you're talking about, though, that 37 resistance from Friday. Don't know why we didn't notice that on Friday, that it held 37 even for like an hour. Guess it wasn't in play.
Yeah. I just want to say a couple of trades that we're going to line up here if we can get them. So NVIDIA right back here. If we can get this 121, let's just take it again. I just feel pretty comfortable with it. You know, we have our stop areas. If we can get back up into there, that's a trade for me there if that comes through. Intel, we're still in, so we'll leave that alone. Tesla, someone had a good point here. And I just saw it. They said that Tesla's been, where was it? Tesla's been inverse of the market. Somewhere said that lately. And I agree, right? Like, so right now, Tesla, I think it was a couple days last week where it was up quite nicely and the market was down. So I just want to say, like, for Tesla, it has been a little bit fooling a kind of trader like me who likes to trade their strength, support and resistance plus relative strength, right? And so, like, when I look at this name and think that it's up today, up here, while the market's nowhere near up here, then, you know, like, I think Tesla was up a couple percentage points, so the market was maybe up maybe half or not even. So that would have been a long for me. And now you can see, even though the market's only down 0.23, look what's happening to Tesla. It's really bleeding off of that low. So we'll have to just maybe potentially stay away from TSLA until it can actually make a little bit more sense for us. Let's check out on Rivian again, a name, not again, but wow, that's hilarious, man. This is always the price. So I'm long at 11.25 right now. We talk about that over and over again in our own accounts. We were able to get out at 18 and change, which was such a fluke, to be honest with you. Well, not a fluke, we planned it, but that it was the top, right into here, 18 and change. Now we've fallen all the way back down as we wait to see if Rivian can get some of that Chinese love at some point, obviously domestic here to the United States. So we'll wait on that one. All right, Uber. I like to try Rivian at $11. Sorry, is what I meant to say there if we didn't talk about that trade. Uber on a pullback, a name that I really, really want to get long, but that has a 70 handle on it, in my opinion, down here into the 50-period moving average. I really, really like the stock. You know, was really impressed with it in London when I took it there a couple times. They had some great service there. I know it's really popular around here, especially Uber Eats, so on and so forth. I don't know how that's tracking down in the United States with DoorDash and all that, but I know Uber Eats is very popular here. And then as the world, I mean, we're over the reopen trade and everything, but as robo-taxis and all this stuff comes talk, I think Uber can benefit from all of that as well. So that's a name that I want to pick up on any dips. I'm just sort of rambling on here because the market's not doing too much.
So there's this duo stock that I know a lot of people are talking about, not Pinduo Duo, just literally DUO here. I'm going to double check what the float is on this is the Chinese 80. Well, I actually don't know if it's an ADR, but a Chinese name here. It didn't just hit the halt band, although I feel like it got really close to halting. It might have just turned off the halt band. I wasn't looking at the level 2 fast enough there on Duo. So it's a $20 million company with a $6 million float that's done 80 million shares today. So let's get that out of the way. It's a blue sky setup, as much as one of these can be a blue sky setup in that there's no resistance out here on the daily. But I feel like it just turned, maybe don't quote me on that, I feel like it got to a halt band there, but I wasn't watching the level 2 to see if that's where this one curled. So $3 probably going to be key on the way back in. Just be careful with these on the back end of the trade. You know, you're getting a bit of a, I don't know, like I look at NEO being a disappointment today and a little bit of a downtrend after the gap up there. And then you look at Alibaba as well. Near those lows. I don't wonder if these things lose the bid, that duo stock, if you're chasing the top and it's just getting a sympathy play from these Chinese runs, if these lose the bid, I don't wonder if duo could be a very, very tricky trade. So I'm staying away from that one unless we get some ramp up in some of the other formerly strong Chinese names. A little 3% is nothing to sniff at. It's been a downtrend in BABA. It's been a downtrend in NIO. We only have 9 minutes to go to shoot you guys over to the midday, but here comes a pop in Intel, which I think is headed for VWAP. So that's what I'm looking for next is a VWAP retrace on Intel for the short opportunity. I do still like the look of that breakout on a firm. However, we might have to stick a fork in that because as soon as I'm like, look how strong this is, pulls into VWAP. It never actually breaks out that top. So I'm going to have to put a little bit of a fork in that one until the afternoon on a firm. It was strong earlier on essentially no news. But we're going to short the pop again on Intel if we get that chance. That's pretty much it. I don't have anything that's setting up as we speak, but let's go on over to Adara for a little money talks, apparently.
we have the DXY trying to form a bit of the bottom on the daily chart, having these wicks continued here just above that $100 level, which we have not cracked as of right now. Of course, though, the DXY is still in this downtrend with lower highs starting mid-April 2024. So this is almost 6 months of continued weakness for that DXY. Not any big economic data coming through today. We did have on Friday, of course, a little lower than expected PCE. It is worth noting we hit the Chicago PMI slightly stronger than we were looking for at 9:45 today. But the bigger news, of course, today is going to be comments from Fed Chair Powell. They will be coming through here at the meeting's apparently supposed to start at 12 p.m. I'm seeing that Fed Chair Powell will speak anywhere from 1 p.m. to 1:55 p.m. So sometimes this afternoon, speaking at this forum for the National Association for Business Economics. We'll let you guys know as those comments come through from Fed Chair Powell. Let's see if that moves that DXY, guys.
Thank you very much there, Adara. Everyone's favorite, Big Papa.
Yes.
Oh, can we even call him Big Papa Pump?
Yeah.
Still? You think so?
Yeah, I mean, he spoke and the market's up every day since he's.
Well, no. Well, the last time, you know what? I don't remember what they were doing. It was like that 5-minute thing at the Open, and you had like 3 Fed speakers in like 15 minutes,
Right.
and literally nothing of importance was said, and it meant nothing to the markets. So maybe, we're getting. It's like, look, if you're not going to say anything profound, I don't think it's going to matter. But we'll see what happens when Powell does
That's
come
right,
on
1
the radar.
o'clock, right?
At 1 o'clock, but
All right.
and when it's only 5 minutes.
There goes Tesla.
I think that was probably expected that it wasn't going to be that big of a deal. Like, I think we still have a lot of room to go in terms of those cuts to the end of the year. So the direction that he sets for us is going to be important. It was a good inflation number last week. I want to go back over, like I said, Intel's not at VWAP, but it's getting pretty close there. It's about, call it 10 cents away. So I think that curl's incoming. CCL, by the way, now that you're past the point of the call, and if you wonder why we don't like trading these things during I hate when things report in the pre-market, first of all, because it's a bit of a mess. You don't have time to just go over the report and do all that preparation. But since the call started, initially it was to the downside. But since then, it's actually put in a higher low, and there's a bit of a trend forming. If we can come to my chart for a second, because I think this might lose the trend right now. So there's a bit of a trend bottom here on CCL, lining up with VWAP and the $18. So there's the low, and $18 breakdown right now would be a break of that trend. So if we lose 18, which I feel like we're about to any second now, this is a bit of a trend reversal. I'd only give it to the top here, which is like 18.10. But yeah, now all of a sudden, there we go. Just broke. Actually, just able to get 99s there. So I'm just gonna throw. Yeah, it was weird. It just kind of. I was gonna throw a stop order as I was talking about it. Then it broke while we were talking, and I just offered 99s and got filled. So there's a bit of it's like a mean reversion trade, although it's not parabolic. So the call's done. At least I think it's done. As far as I'm concerned. If it's not done, they're not saying anything profound anymore because it hasn't been moving except for that last move to the downside. So a bit of a trend reversal, some lower highs got put in, CCL down 3%. It wasn't a horrible earnings print, I think, overall, but the other thing going on is last week's support was at $18 as well. So there's $18 support, a bit of a trend reversal going on here in Carnival Cruise Lines. Probably not good for Disney because I said watch out for Disney, which was strong if Carnival lost a bid, and Carnival did lose a bid. But I wasn't planning on trading Disney. We're short. I just got some out at 94. Going to put another one at 90, and then we'll bid 17, a couple times into 1770, which was the last support line here on CCL. So no squeeze today for this name, unfortunately. But hey. We just had a trend break. I don't need the trend line anymore. You guys already saw it break to the downside.
Yeah, here we go. We're starting to break right now, even lower. And I was just going to talk about Tesla because it's like it's over-under, and Neil did a lesson on this the other day. I really think that this over-under sort of level here.
It probably should have been a short.
Yeah, it could be something right now. So let's watch out Tesla right there at 258. Again, a weaker name than normal today could give us something here on the short if you want to test in and around those levels. I don't think that that's a horrible trade at all. And then give it even just to where we wicked higher there, 258.50. So we were in this name. We got taken out of it. That's completely fine. I still like it as we still come back in now as the market tries to go. We're only short Intel right now. We're going to leave the Qs alone. It's just very, very choppy. I mean, it looks like you'd still want to be short underneath VWAP for sure, but I'm not We waited for this to happen, and when it did, boom, we took advantage of it. It's going to be my number one stock today. There is, of course, the Qs. So we'll wait to see if it wants to get even lower than where it is right now. I think a breaking spot, I don't even like it right here. I think you got to break the low of the day down at 71.90 basically, or 70.90, sorry, down there at $71. I mean, you get that break, then I feel like you would definitely like your life at that point. If you're short, I think that could open up the sort of the floodgates, because we've already right now, we marked down 2020, 20,200. We marked that down for now back-to-back days on the sticky note, and that's held pretty good for this downside. So there it was right there into the close. Well, this is actually the AM. We're talking about it here from Friday. Nice move back in there into the close. And I still think that as long as we're underneath 20,200, I prefer that short. So I'm going to, stay in these positions. We are still short Intel from the high of the day, right? And we have the very highest print. I feel like you might be able to have there on Intel there. Today we have 93s there. We're short now 86s as we punched more short back into that. So yeah, so far so good. Only a minute and a half burgers today, so that should be a good one as we've talked about that. Dikembe Mutombo.
Oh, I just saw that too.
Is that
That's
true?
so young.
Brain cancer. Wow.
Oh, that's
sad.
wow,
Yeah. So
58 's so
we'll just
young.
go like that as we really.
Let's give the
appreciate-
finger wave.
That's what I was just doing. Yeah, we'll give that finger wave to Dikembe.
Got
there.
to.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. But
Oh,
that's
that's,
sad news for us.
Yeah, and for anyone that doesn't know, I mean, like, he's probably the best, if not the top 2 or 3 shot blockers in NBA history. And that's when it comes to, we talk about this a lot in trading and bring everything back to trading, like lean into your strength. Like that was a dude who knew what he was great at, and he just kept on getting better and better. They almost had that big upset when he was a rookie with Denver. Yeah, that kind of sucks, but it just goes to show, man, live every day to your fullest, right?
Oh, and we're doing
and every single day, tell the people you love that you love them. I tell every single day, I tell my wife and daughter how much Daddy loves them, and it sucks, man. I hate hearing stuff like that, but you know what? At the end of the day, we can celebrate. We can always celebrate the good. And that's what it's all about here, guys. So a couple of things here. Just wanted to quickly point out what has been good for everybody. Okay, I just got another leg out on Rivian, but GameStop did get to VWAP. I said, let's wait for it if it's not going to break out the highs. Let's wait to see if it can hold on to VWAP and do the old stair step to the upside, which it just bounced a second time. It's still doing lower highs. That's what we talk about, being patient. Let it consolidate off VWAP, maybe make a second leg in. It did just fail a breakout on the higher time frame, but there's been all kinds of support down at 22. So if it finally puts in that higher low and trends up off this level, which it has yet to do, like you saw on Friday, it kind of trended down. Show me a bounce and higher lows, and I like the participation in GME. So the only new position was Rivian for me on that. Sorry. Why did I don't know why Rivian's in my brain. I think it's your fault because you were just talking about it.
I was, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it had to be. No, CCL, sorry. Carnival was the only new position on that trend reversal at 18. I just took another leg out in the mid-80s because it's catching a bid there. So 1770 and then low of the day, and then we're out of that. But it is 11 o'clock. That means we're heading on over to Sharif, and it's going to be Joe today. So it's
right.
Sharif and Joseph. There, I do see Satea, but it is Sharif and Joseph. Go get them.
Yes. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as that Midday Show. That is your boys, Joe.
Yes, sir.
And I'm Sharif.